It started with a bang, but ended quietly. Timmy Chang's first game as Hawaii's head coach did not follow the script many had hoped for. But the TC era, which has promised renewed energy, enthusiasm, and hope in Manoa, will see the Rainbow Warriors lace them up for a second act against another talented non-conference foe. The Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky are an offensive juggernaut that Hawaii will have to slow down. This college football Saturday comes to a close in paradise. And with that, we welcome you to the lower campus at the University of Hawaii at Manoa and Clarence T.C. Ching Athletic Complex. A Week 1 matchup, Game 2 for the Rainbow Warriors as they take on the Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky out of Conference USA. Hawaii, of course, coming off of that 63-10 loss against Vanderbilt on this field last week. Western Kentucky coming in after winning their season opener against Austin Peay. Aloha, everybody. Alongside Rich Miano, I'm Kanoa Leahy. Let's start off the festivities by saying happy birthday to my man, Rich Miano. 60 years young. You look great.
Appreciate that. Hopefully I look younger than I am chronologically.
Definitely, most definitely. All right, well, this is a matchup that's very interesting on a number of levels. First off, Hawaii needs to show some improvement. That was objective and emphasis number one here this week. But you also have a matchup of two coaches who are connected from their time here at the University of Hawaii. During Timmy Chang's playing days, you had Tyson Helton, who got his coaching start as a grad assistant and then a special teams coach at the University of Hawaii.
Yeah, and you can ask yourself, how did this game even be scheduled? Western Kentucky has played football for 104 years, Hawaii over 100 years. This is the first Mountain West Conference team, and it's Hawaii. And when you think about that connection, you think about Pisa Tanoi Samoa, Travis LeBoy, Nick Rolovich, Timmy Chang, Chad Owens, and Tyson Helton was 3 years here at the University of Hawaii. He has so much love and aloha for this state, these people, and he understands that Hawaii is going to come and it's going to be a physical football game.
Tyson Helton has also established something at Western Kentucky in now going into his fourth season. They led the nation in total offense last year. They were second in passing offense. They were also second in scoring offense. This was a juggernaut for sure. They have a little bit of a new offensive personnel set, but they expect more of the same. What about the Kaiser Permanente keys to the game?
Yeah, the keys to the game. Let's start with Western Kentucky on offense. It's all about protection. Protect the quarterback. With time, Austin Green will germinate. Defensively, stop Hawaii's running game. Make Hawaii a one-dimensional football team. Hawaii, on the other hand, offensively, run the rock. For the offense to be efficacious, tonight they need to establish the run. On defense, ball extraction, 0 fumbles, 0 interceptions. Last week against Vandy, they need to take it away.
I'm not sure, but it seems as though your vocabulary has improved with age, my friend. That was very impressive there.
I'm trying to be like Todd Christensen for you old folks that remembered his vocabulary with the thesaurus.
Oh, we definitely appreciate it. Of course, we're up here in the booth. We do have a third member of our broadcast team down on the field. And let's check in with him now with some updated news as to the starting quarterback for the University of Hawaii. Let's send it to Scott Robbs.
After last week would be who's going to be the starting quarterback here in week number 2. Braden Shager got the nod against Vanderbilt last week, though we saw Joey Yellen as well. It was a pretty tight competition all week long. Timmy Chang taking a look at the film along with Ian Shoemaker, and he says that they're going to go with the transfer from Pitt here in this one. So Joey Yellen will get his first start in a Rainbow Warrior uniform. Back up to you, Kanoan. Happy birthday, Rich.
There you go. Thanks a lot, Scott. And so, yeah, that's the news that a lot of people were waiting for, right? Who was going to be the starting quarterback here in Game 2, officially Week 1 in college football. And it is the junior Joey Yellen, 6'3", 220-pounder, transfer from Pittsburgh, started his career at Arizona State. They are leaning a little bit more on his experience because, according to head coach Timmy Chang, he and Braden Shager measuring out, and as far as the evaluations go, very evenly.
Yeah, and that's part of the development of this offense in terms of maturation. When you think that maybe 2 weeks prior to week 0, the first game of the season, you're going to name a starting quarterback. Both of these guys, when they've graded them out, they've been so close that they're not really sure who the starter is, and somebody has to emerge for this football team to actually be effective and reach the goals that Timmy Chang has set for this program.
What were your impressions of the time that Joey Yellen put out there in the second half against Vanderbilt, where he was 10 of 20 for 89 yards? He did get sacked twice.
Yeah, well, initially, I mean, he got rid of the ball. He made good decisions, and I thought Ian Shoemaker, the offensive coordinator, called a lot of quick game type of things. As Vanderbilt tightened up, rolled up the corners, did some things defensively, he obviously went on a dry spell. Similar to Braden Shager. I mean, when you look at both of those quarterbacks play last week, they had success early, and then it was almost like Vandy was either really good on their adjustments or Hawaii did not execute.
Well, regardless of who the starter is, there is still a high possibility that we will see another quarterback, whether it's Shager or even Cameron Cooper, under certain circumstances, whether it be red zone packages or otherwise. The teams are taking the field. The coin toss has taken place. Hawaii won the toss, elected to receive. They will be defending the Les Murakami Stadium end of the field, and so they look to get their hands on the football here first. Kicking off for Western Kentucky will be Corey Munson, 6'2", 205-pound junior. And one of the guys back for the University of Hawaii is Jalen Purdue. Also back for Hawaii is Chucky Hines, and that would likely be Zion Bowens. Bowens actually went out with an injury against Vanderbilt last week. And so he is unavailable. He is probably going to miss multiple games here for Hawaii. This is Purdue on the return, and he's going to get pile-driven into the field at about the 23-yard line. Let's take a look at the Hawaiian Financial FCU starting lineups. And for Hawaii, you see the skill position players. Jordan Murray, the big tight end, and at the wide receiver positions, James Phillips. Again, Zion Bowens actually out injured here. Dior Scott and Dedrick Parson will be in the backfield. On the offensive line, this is a very experienced bunch. In fact, now 119 starts between them: Manning, Bernard Wendt, Tanuvasa, Vanterpool, and Hop. And as mentioned, the quarterback for Hawaii is Joey Yellen. And it is an empty set here in the first play from scrimmage for the Rainbow Warriors. Looking for victory number 1 after a lopsided defeat against Vanderbilt last week. Yellen, first play throwing, and it is a connection to Dior Scott, the 5'9" senior from Antioch, California. They're actually going to say that that is incomplete. They're going to say he was out of bounds even though the pass got there.
Yeah, tough throw, playing a trap type of coverage. The safety gets over a small little dead spot in that coverage. Wasn't a bad throw, just slightly out of bounds.
So Joey Yellen, who started hot for sure when he took over in the second half last week, unable to connect on that first pass play. Spent 2 years at Pitt, was a backup to NFL first rounder Kenny Pickett. Of course, now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We got whistles, and we may have a review of that last play. They're going to confirm here whether or not that was a catch made by Dior Scott. Head referee for this ball game is Christian Watson.
In that trap coverage, the corner came off, and the number 2 receiver, the safety, tried to get over the top. This is going to be close.
And it looks like the defensive player made a good maneuver there, Rich, right, to force Dior Scott off of the playing surface.
Yeah, and in the old days, the officials would have to declare whether he would have come back down in bounds, and would that have been a reception. But in the new rules, he's out of bounds. He's pushed out by the defender.
All right,
He's got a toe in, but he's got a heel down.
Well, a new feature here for our broadcast this season, we would like to welcome very experienced football official. He is in the capacity of our Spectrum Sports rules analyst, George Gussman. George, what do you think about the replay that you've seen?
I'd like to see another angle of it. That's close. I think Rich is spot on in terms of that's an old rule where if you push a wrist.
George, if the foot comes down simultaneously with the toe in bounds but the heel out of bounds, that's what it looks like to me.
And that's out of bounds.
All right, according to that angle, I think we have 2 votes for an incomplete here based on the replay angles that we have been granted. But how about this very early replay and very early example of the replay system? George, you have mentioned that they are looking to expedite the replay process here in 2022 as we listen in to the official ruling.
After further review, the call of incomplete stands. Second down.
So they take a look at it, and that did take at least a few extra moments just to make sure it was a close call. But George, that is an objective this year, right, to expedite the replay process?
And the thing about expediting the replay process, last year I think we probably were 10% right. Now with George Gussman, we're 1 for 1. This is adding to the broadcast in terms of clarity, transparency.
I like our chances much better here with George in the booth with us. All right, so that'll bring up a 2nd and 10 ball at the 23-yard line. And some movement on the line early. Joey Yellen takes a whack, flags.
And I don't know why there's not a quick whistle on that, because obviously the quarterback's in danger.
So a bit of a sandpaper-like start here
Offsides.
to this game.
Unabated to the quarterback. Defense, number 99. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
And again, protection of the quarterback. If the defense jumps, it can be blown dead by the officials just to protect the quarterback.
There's a good look at Tyson Helton, head coach for Western Kentucky in his 4th year. So 2nd down here for Hawaii. And the officials already factoring heavily into this opening series. The give is to Dedrick Parson. And he pushes forward for a couple of yards. All right, let's take a look at the starting lineups for Western Kentucky. Up front, you got Juwan Jones, Darius Shipp, and Broderick Martin. The linebackers, Jaden Hunter, Jaquez Evans, also known as Donut, Will Ignat, and C.J. Jones. And then in the defensive secondary, you have Halasi, Brathwaite, who we are told just prior to kickoff is actually out of this game, Caleb Oliver, and Upton Stout. So a couple of injuries of note on either side of the football. 3rd down and short here. Yellen out of the gun. He's going to throw to the hash, and that was off the mark. Was looking in the direction of Jalen Walthall. With Zion Bowen's injury, Walthall's likely to be a guy who is targeted at higher frequency here in this ball game.
Yeah, Walthall was a bright spot last week, week 0, but this ball is thrown not only high, but dangerous into that zone coverage. Interesting, Hawaii starts out 1st down with an empty set. Then they go to their 11 personnel. Right now, Joey Yellen has to become more accurate and make better decisions.
All right, so Upton Stout and Craig Burt Jr. back to receive this punt by Matt Shipley. And it is a good one. Shipley putting the boot into it, and some problems on the reception. And the ball is loose. Hawaii recovers it. And the Rainbow Warriors catch a big break.
Not quite a touchdown. That ball is down somewhere inside the 5-yard line. But again, a muffed punt, and a great punt by Matthew Shipley, who struggled going the other way against the wind. But with the wind, he gets this thing to seal. Great hang time. Returner muffs the football, tries to pick it up. And a really nice job by Hawaii's special teams. The first big play for the special teams in this 2022 campaign.
Yeah, that was Riley Wilson, the 6'2", 210-pound sophomore. Listed as a linebacker, but coming up big on special teams. And so opportunity pounding on the door here for the Rainbow Warriors.
Yeah, Wilson, one of those guys on special teams that runs down on kickoffs, punts, takes a lot of pride in that special teams unit. And it's great to see the special teams contributing early and often.
So a red zone opportunity for Hawaii, 1st and goal from the 3. And they go I formation here. And the give is to Dedrick Parson, who doesn't get much.
Yeah, and that's what they call 23 personnel, right? You got 3 tight ends in the football game. You got 2 backs. You got a fullback. We're not used to seeing this here in Manoa. Good penetration by the Hilltoppers defense.
So that'll bring up a 2nd and goal. You see Parsons' numbers so far this season, 82 yards. A 37-yard touchdown run last week, but a couple of fumbles. We have a flag thrown on the snap. Good push and surge to get Parson close to that goal line, but we'll see what the penalty is all about.
I think the defense jumped. Not sure what the cadence is.
So not even 2 minutes into this game, we've already seen a slew of work from the officials and calls that are of substance.
Offside. Defense, number 34. Half the distance to the goal. Remain second down.
We've seen a muffed punt. Now an opportunity here for Hawaii after the penalty.
Yeah, those defenders all in a 4-point stance and just didn't have to rock a little through.
So the ball placed at about the 1.5-yard line. Hawaii lining up in a shotgun formation here with split backs. The give is to Parson, trying to get to the edge. He does, and he is in for 6. Another penalty flag is thrown, however.
That's usually a holding call on the perimeter, but I'll tell you, Parsons does a nice job, because it looks like
Offense, number 7.
it looked like the
Remain second
Hilltoppers
down.
defense had contained. They had penetration. Parsons did a lot on his own, but you're going to see the hold usually right on the point of attack.
And so wipe the would-be 6 off the board here. And again, we're still not 2 minutes into this opening quarter.
Yeah, and I'm not used to seeing 23 personnel, 3 tight ends, 2 backs, the power game, big people. This is a new Hawaii wrinkle.
So now 2nd and goal. You see where the ball is placed. Out near the 12-yard line. Yellen looking to throw. Under pressure. He's wrapped up. And he is taken down. Jaquez Evans, the 6'2", 250-pound sophomore, had a career-high 13 tackles, 9 solo. Also had 2.5 sacks last week against Austin Peay.
Yeah, you talk about a game that was full of statistics and full of big plays. That young man had himself a night last weekend against Austin Peay.
Nicknamed Donut. That goes back to his youth days.
We're still researching.
Yeah, the story's a little murky. There were some that said that he got it from the coaching staff here at Western Kentucky. There are some that say it was his youth league coach that gave it to him. By all accounts, there seems to be a connection to an affinity for donuts. That's where it is basically come from. And another flag is thrown. I think we got to delay a game.
Delay a game. Offense, number 18. 5-yard penalty.
I mean, at this rate, we might be celebrating your 61st birthday at the end of this one.
Yeah, this we're going to get a lot of help also from George, our official in this, because you continue to see week 1 mistakes in terms of procedures, guys jumping off sides. Just, you got to clean up the administrative stuff. You got to play a clean football game. And Ian Shoemaker right now is watching this offense, the offensive coordinator, go backwards.
Hawaii had it 1st and goal on the 3. And now the positioning outside of the 20. The throw by Yellen over the middle, and a lot of traffic in the area. It falls incomplete. It was intended for James Phillips, but a lot of coverage in the area, including Khalif Halassi, number 12, the 6'1", 200-pound redshirt junior corner.
Yeah, and you're going to see the safeties both overlap. You're going to see the linebacker or the nickelback run down the seam, quarters coverage. Really a nice job by that defense of reading the quarterback, reacting, and making a play on the receiver and the football.
All right, so Hawaii now forced to kick the field goal here. 40-yard attempt by Matt Shipley. The 40-yarder last week against Vanderbilt. And this one is good. So Hawaii does get points on the board, but there will probably be a feeling of would've, could've, should've after the break they caught on special teams. But Matt Shipley, sure-footed once again. Hawaii up 3-0 against Western Kentucky. Well, don't miss a second of the action. Watch Spectrum Sports on the go. The Spectrum News app has the local sports you love and the news and weather that matter most to you. Download today on the App Store or Google Play. So Hawaii does get 3 on the 40-yard field goal by Matt Shipley, but they could have had more. A golden opportunity after the muffed punt. They weren't able to punch it in on 1st and goal from the 3.
Yeah, defensive coordinator Tyson Summers has to be happy with that Hilltoppers defense because they were put in a very precarious position on the field, and they did their jobs. They made Hawaii go back. Hawaii did get that field goal. Special teams playing well. Offensively, Hawaii has to get Joe Yellen connecting more because he's 0 for 3 right now early in this first quarter.
Ensuing kick does not afford a return, and so Western Kentucky's offense will take the field. Again, this is an offense that last year led the country in total offense per game, 2nd in scoring offense, 2nd in passing offense. They had Bailey Zappi at the QB position. He went on to get drafted by the New England Patriots. So in comes this guy, Austin Reed. He threw for 4 touchdowns last week and a pick against Austin Peay. Transfer from West Florida, the Argos of Division II, where he won a national championship in 2019. He is looking to throw, and he has all kinds of time and has a man open. It is caught to midfield. A perfectly placed pass to Jakari Moses, 5'9", 195-pound redshirt junior from Palm Beach, Florida. And if Reed is given that kind of time tonight, Rich, look out.
No question, 26-yard pickup. At number 3, Hugh Nelson actually got that wheel route, which is a 2nd-level route, but he needs to press out. He needs to accelerate.
So ball actually on the Hawaii 49 as the Toppers already crossing midfield. And this is Malachi Corley trying to catch the edge on the opposite side. JoJo Forrest there defensively for Hawaii, but yet another penalty.
Holding. Offense number 3. 10-yard penalty. Remains first down.
So a busy evening so far for the officiating crew. A lot of backwards movement from these offenses. And we also have a player down. That's Penei Pavihi for Hawaii. They can ill afford to lose him in any capacity.
Yeah, you saw the hold right there on the perimeter on the nickelback, Malik Hausman.
Pavihi, a 6th-year senior. He is a super senior, one of the team captains from Pongo Pongo, American Samoa. But while we have an opportunity, let's meet the offense for Western Kentucky at the skill positions. Hall, Davis, Corley, Smith, and Moses. Malachi Corley, who got the hat trick last week. 3 touchdown passes of the 4th thrown by Austin Reed. On the line, you have Good, Leslie, Stats, Murphy, and Britton. This is a Western Kentucky team that may not be quite as big as what we saw from Vanderbilt last week, but they're not far off from that. They got some size. In fact, 24 players on this roster over 6'4".
And the word is Tyson Helton loves to recruit height, loves to recruit speed, and we talked about Malachi Corley being lightning fast. And this would be a huge loss of Penei Pavihi because not only is he a captain, but one of the 2 returning starters coming back.
Yeah, he is walking gingerly off the field under his own power, which I guess you could say is encouraging. But yeah, that is not a guy that this Hawaii defense can easily fill the role of.
Yeah, that was Ty Marsh, actually, that was held, number 4, the defensive back from Hawaii.
It looked like someone jumped, possibly Kahahavai Welch, and the pass is complete, meanwhile, to the far sideline. Dawood Davis hauls it in. 6'2", 195-pound redshirt senior, transfer from Oregon, one of 17 Power 5 conference transfers.
Offside. Defense, number 42. That throw is declined. First down.
That was Jonah Kahahavai Welch jumping early. Here's another look at the catch.
JoJo Forrest playing zone coverage. You see his butt is to the sidelines. He's looking back at the quarterback as the receiver runs a 22-yard comeback route. Really trying to judge that speed early in the game of Davis. Davis can fly as well.
25-yard gain. Again, Hawaii going with the 3-man front here. Adding an extra defensive back. Going to the near side, and that's going to be a tackle for a loss. Good defensive reaction there by Noah Kemmer on the catch by Jakari Moses. Let's take a look at the Hawaii defense. Matayo Soli, Blessman Ta'ala, John Tuitupo. The front line, Penei Pavihi, you saw him limp off the field moments ago. Isaiah Tufonga, Jonah Kahahavai Welch, and Malik Hausman. And in the defensive secondary, JoJo Forrest, Matangi Thompson, Leonard Lee, and Verdell Edwards II.
Yeah, we talked about the contrast this week going with that 3-man front and more of a nickel or a dime package in the back end.
Well, again, Austin Reed out of the gun, takes the handoff, throws to the near sideline, and that looked like a perfect strike. That's going to be a catch to Jalen Hall. So already Austin Reed spreading the wealth a little bit to his receivers. Hall, who had 1 catch for 30 yards last week against Austin P, already in the reception category tonight.
You see Matangi Thompson coming off the left side of your screen. You're also in a zone coverage with Hugh Nelson, the boundary corner. Again, giving these receivers a little more cushion early in the game until they understand the speed, and then they'll tighten it down.
Crowd here at Clarence T. C. Ching Athletic Complex, turning up the volume knob a little bit here on 3rd down. 3rd and 6, Reed rolling, has all kinds of greenery in front of him, fakes the throw, and he's going to get close to that 1st down marker.
Looks like they're going to spot him a little past that.
And that will be a gain of 7, enough for a 1st down, but we do have a penalty flag.
Austin Reed, not known for fleet of foot, but does a nice job of moving in the pocket.
Threw for over 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns. Did have 6 rushing touchdowns at national championship year with Division II West Florida.
A lot of quarterback sneaks from the one.
I would imagine so. But
Now,
he did the job there.
Move. He's athletic, and you got to be able to move in this modern day of college football. And
Personal foul, Terry roughness, offense, number 64. 15-yard penalty, or a main 3rd down.
Well, that's a biggie. So here is that run by Reed. We'll see if we can catch the penalty.
Good job of looking downfield.
Yeah, it obviously happened elsewhere on the field. You could see the open space, the almost pasture that Austin Reed was running through, but for not, as they are backed up big time now. 3rd and long. We'll call it 3rd and 20 here for the Toppers. Again, crowd trying to urge the defense on. Reed on a draw. And he's going to get to the 35-yard line.
Just as I talk about his athleticism, they call a quarterback draw on 3rd and long, and he picks up 8 or 10 yards.
So the Hilltoppers in field goal range for their kicker, Braden Narveson, but they haven't brought the kicking team on yet here on 4th and what appears to be a lengthy 8.
Helton understanding this is against the wind. This is where the wind comes from, the Les Murakami Baseball Stadium side. That's a tough field goal.
So a play of significant consequence early here in quarter number 1 for the Hilltoppers. Reed, short drop, gets hit as he throws, has a man open deep, it's incomplete. No flag on the play. JoJo Forrest on the coverage, and Hawaii will take over on downs.
Receiver definitely had a couple steps. Defensive back doing a good job. No face guarding in college football. It's just a matter of was there contact early? And I think JoJo Forrest got away with one.
It looked like Meki Pei was the one who pressured Austin Reed and gave him a nice little wrap on that throw. The intended target was Dawood Davis. But JoJo Forrest closing the gap there, Rich Miano.
Yeah, Meki Pei as well as Matangi Thompson. We're seeing safeties come from about 6-8 yards deep, and they're getting there a little late. But they are getting a hit on that quarterback, and that could have affected that throw.
So points for Hawaii after the muff punt. So a special teams play that gave them the opportunity to ultimately get the Matt Shipley field goal. The defense coming up with a stop here on 4th down. And so just like last week, you can look at this start for the Rainbow Warriors and say, okay, there's something to feel encouraged by. There are some things that are happening positively. They are going to need perhaps some of those breaks like we saw on special teams on the punt earlier in the quarter. But what say you about the start here so far for Hawaii?
I agree with you. 2/3, they're winning right now. They're winning in special teams. They're winning on defense. The offense has to generate a drive. They have to get that running game going, the play action pass. Joey Yellen has to make good decisions, get the ball out of his hands into the receiver's hands as quickly as possible. Bubble screens, slip screens.
The give is to Dedrick Parson. Bounces a couple of times, tries to spin his way back to the middle of the field, but he'll be wrapped up.
And I got a chance to talk to Roman Sapolo, the offensive line coach, this week. He said the offensive line last week all graded out over 85%. Il Manning played at the all-conference level, and he even felt stay with the running game a little longer. Even though it hasn't been effective early, you got to continue to pound that rock to set up the play-action pass.
Yeah, Roman Sapolo, the son of former UH great and 4-time Super Bowl champ with the 49ers. Jesse Sapolo, who we understand is in the house this evening. 2nd and 9. Yellen gets away from trouble. On the run, going to try to throw, and that one is incomplete. He was looking the way of James Phillips.
You mentioned Jesse Sapolo, I think one of only 27 people in the world with 4 Super Bowl rings. And you talk about a guy, if they ever retire another number, Cole Brennan, Jesse Sapolo would be right up there on that top of the list.
You saw Yellen trying to run away from pressure. C.J. Jones was the guy applying it. So that's going to bring up 3rd and 9.
Yellen still does not have a completion.
Stark contrast to his start last week against Vanderbilt. Again, they're bringing the house here on him. He throws out of bounds. And again, the pressure applied, this time from Mike Allen. 6'5", 290-pound redshirt senior, transfer from Wake Forest.
Zone dog pressure from the field to his right-handed quarterback, forcing him to run to his left. Great job, great call. That's what you do on 3rd and long. You bring it, you overload protection.
So Upton Stout, who fumbled the Matt Shipley punt earlier in the quarter, back to receive here. Shipley standing on the 20-yard line.
Same guy who had an INT for 6 last week against Austin Peay.
And this time he fair catches it at about the 17-yard line. 48-yard punt off the toe of Matt Shipley. 3-0 Hawaii, 7:16 left to play in quarter number 1. Welcome back. We take a look at the series record between Western Kentucky and Hawaii. First ever meeting between these two programs, but that's what makes the relationship between the two head coaches all the more profound. The fact that you had Timmy Chang in his playing days at the University of Hawaii, that time coinciding with really the start of Tyson Helton's coaching career, came in as a grad assistant under June Jones in the year 2000, and then parlayed that into a special teams assistant position for the next 3 years before moving on and obviously eventually finding his way into head coaching.
Yeah, even though he was a special teams coordinator, he was in that quarterback room. He was in the offensive meetings. He is a former quarterback, so he and Timmy have so much in common, so much DNA that they think alike and they are very friendly. But this is the first time, obviously, they've met in a very competitive first quarter.
3-0 Hawaii, 7:16 left to play here in quarter number 1. And you see some of the crisscross action in the backfield there as that one is given to Dalvin Smith. Yet another on the receiving end of an Austin Reed pass here early.
Yeah, Leonard Lee on the tackle, but there's also a couple other guys. Part of the thing is taking good angles. The other part is wrapping up, getting people to the football.
Quick snap here for Western Kentucky. Again, looking towards Smith is Reed. That time incomplete, though, as there was a bit of a hand wrestling matchup between he and Hugh Nelson.
Yeah, hand battle. Hugh Nelson, the boundary corner, big, strong, physical, gets his eyes back. And if you get your eyes back and you're battling for the football, you do have the right to become the receiver.
So already 5 different pass catchers for Western Kentucky here, having recorded receptions in this first quarter. This one is given to Moses out of the backfield, and he is quickly upended along that near sideline. And guess who's back? Pene Pavihi left the game, looked like he was walking off gingerly, but he's back out there, and that is a good sign for Hawaii.
Yeah, and fundamentally, the two high coverage, whether they're playing quarters or halves, doing a nice job downfield. So quarterback checking the ball down, and then you're seeing good angles. You're seeing eyes up. You're seeing coming to balance. You're seeing wrapping up. And that's what you did not see last week. And I'll tell you right now, Jacob Euro and the defensive coaches spent a lot of time on tackling fundamentals.
And you know how momentum-driven this game can be, Rich. And that was one of those games where a few things happened early on for Hawaii. It could have been a different story, perhaps, at least deeper into the ball game, as that pass is complete to the receiver. But they're going to say that he was out of bounds, incomplete, and that's going to bring up 4th down.
Back shoulder fade type of throw, ran out of real estate, but a win for Hawaii's defense. You're going to see the press out, the eyes trying to get back to the football. Abraham Elimian has to be happy. He was happy last week on the outside. The 2 corners did a nice job being on that proverbial island. So far, secondary playing well.
Michael Matheson was the intended target there that time for Reed. So on to punt is Tom Ellard. End over end punt's going to hit the turf at the 38-yard line. And it's going to be scooped up there and down at about the 33-34. So Hawaii's offense once again to take over here. Still up 3, 6:04 to go in quarter number 1.
Rolling.
Welcome back. Well, the Honolulu Little League team
Rolling on the field.
won the World
Ball
Championship.
was untouched by the receiving team. Is down to further review.
They won the championship in Williamsport, getting honored here during that timeout and maybe bringing some of that good juju. Hawaii's offense could use some. Total offense so far, -3 for the Rainbow Warriors. Their 3 possessions have gone punt, field goal, punt. And on the field goal, they went backwards 20 yards.
And maybe their coach, Gerald Oda, actually gave some fundamentals about knee bend and change of direction to the defense, because they're tackling better, they have better angles, and a good pregame speech by the world champion baseball team would be nice.
All right, so you may have heard the head referee, Christian Watson. They're taking a look at the previous play prior to the timeout. Let's check in with our Spectrum Sports rules analyst, George Gussman. George, what's happening here?
I think there was some touching, but it appears as though maybe receiving, it was pushed into the ball, if anything. I don't see anything right now.
They may be looking to see if this ball touched. No, it didn't. There's right there, it looked like the ball changed, but I don't think that touched 14 on the way down.
That's definitely what they're looking at, though, right? As
Yes,
if Hawaii's receiving team touched it prior.
Then it'd be a live ball.
Correct. Prior to the recovery there, but.
And the football seemed to go a different way, but I didn't see any contact with somebody in a black jersey.
That end zone camera certainly did not appear to show a touch.
But that's why you give that poison call. You got to get those gunners away from the football. If you know you can't catch it, it's poison, poison, poison.
All right, so we kind of asked you this earlier, George, but one of the sort of points of emphasis, if you will, for the officials this year in college football to try to expedite this replay system and these reviews overall, these are taking a little bit of time here so far tonight, but what goes into that idea of trying to speed this process up?
It's just being more efficient. You know, people want to see things move quickly, decisions made quicker, and I'm surprised that this wasn't looked at during the TV timeout. But again, it may be they were just alerted to it. At this point, I don't see any
Fully on the field stands. First down, Hawaii.
I didn't see any angle there. We needed a better angle to see if there's any touching.
And neither did the replay officials. And so, yes, Hawaii will take over. And they didn't want to interrupt the celebration of the Honolulu Little League team. So, of course, they couldn't announce the review during that, right?
That is much more important. I agree. But there was the second bounce that was close. But, again, if there's no evidence, just stay with the call on the field.
So 1st and 10 here for Hawaii. The ball at the 34-yard line. As mentioned, the Rainbow Warriors, they need to start getting some positive yardage on offense. -3 yards total so far in this first quarter. Also, if you're just joining us, Joey Yellen getting the start. There was some uncertainty as to which quarterback would start this game. Braden Shager getting the start last week against Vanderbilt. Joey Yellen did see some time in that second half. Started off hot, then cooled off a little bit. He so far is 0 for 5 in passing. And he gives it here to Dedrick Parson, and Parson leans forward. He'll get positive yardage of about 4 yards, but hey, surprise, surprise, penalty flag down on the field.
I'm not sure that the amount of plays.
Offense, number 85. 10-yard penalty. Main's first down.
Percentage of flags has to be somewhere around 50% in terms of the number of plays. This has been a sloppily played first quarter.
There you see some of the action there on the Dedrick Parson carry.
Point of attack, Caleb Phillips here at 85. Got to keep your head up, got to move your feet, and if you're going to hold, it has to be inside that breastplate.
Yeah, this has been all too familiar for Hawaii in this opening frame. They've been moving backwards due to a slew of penalties. Here's Parson out of the backfield. Another thing he brings to the table, part of his versatility. He is very proud of the fact that he's a guy you can hand the ball off to, but you can also use him as a weapon out of the backfield, catching the pass.
Yes, from a production standpoint, I mean, he can line up an empty as a wide receiver. He has very good hands, obviously good vision, good toughness, good balance, and you're right. That gives defensive coordinators problems because personnel-wise, you can still go to that empty or ghost formation with 31 in the football game.
Had 28 catches for 279 yards last season. Second and long here for Hawaii. Yellen back to throw, has a little bit of time, goes on the crossing route to Caleb Phillips. And Phillips, who the coaching staff said was going to likely see a few more snaps here this week. They felt like maybe they relied too heavily on the starting tight end Jordan Murray. They felt like fatigue may have played a factor in the second half in some of the route running and incompletions. And so they wanted to try to ease up the load and give Caleb Phillips a few more opportunities.
78 offensive snaps. Jordan Murray took the majority of that. They want to get Caleb Phillips some reps. That's a nice job of checking it down underneath to that drag route as the vertical routes try to clear the safeties out.
And the first completion coming on this drive for Yellen to Parson, and then the completion to Phillips. And how about back-to-back Caleb Phillips? This time it gets Hawaii into Western Kentucky territory.
Western Kentucky had 2 blitzers inside A-gaps. Offense doing a nice job picking it up, but Yellen did get hit. But give credit because that was the best throw of this early evening. Good job, Caleb Phillips, bending that seam in along the hash.
22-yard gain there. Here's James Phillips on the bubble screen. And he's able to elude a couple of would-be tacklers and drags a few more, in fact. Good run after the catch that time by James Phillips.
The diminutive one showed power there, showed grit, showed the ability to continue to move his feet and really got the sidelines excited, getting this fan base excited.
Look at Hawaii trying to run some tempo here. The give is to Najee Bryant-Lele, 5'10", 210-pound junior from Orlando, Florida. Had 4 carries for 21 yards against Vanderbilt last week. He had gone last year by the name Najee Bryant, added the hyphenated Lele because that is representative of some of his Polynesian ancestry, and that was an indication of him sort of buying into this brotherhood mentality that Timmy Chang and this coaching staff have brought. And so he is now wearing that proudly as part of now his namesake here. And he does get the first down. We have some premature movement once again and penalty flags.
Offense, number 75, 5-yard penalty. Main's first down.
That's going to be El Manning.
Next comes the Polynesian sleeve tattoo, and you know, the brotherhood is coming strong.
Yeah, kind of the Thomas Sheffield one,
Thomas
like
Sheffield.
with the actual brotherhood tattoo on the forearm.
Yeah. You talk about belonging to the brotherhood, you got to get the sleeve.
I mean, there's no more of a commitment than that, right?
Ask Chris Brown, ask some of these other coaches.
Penalty on Il Manning, one of the most experienced on this offensive line. We saw Yellen keeping on that one, and he gets wrapped up in the backfield. Khalif Halassi was first to him. And so again, Hawaii this time going backwards.
This is a jailbreak, and I mean, they got guys coming off the edge, but not a real good decision to pull that ball. You do not want your quarterback with that ball unless it's a crucial situation. When he's reading that end man on the line of scrimmage, give it inside.
So 2nd and 19 now. We'll call it 2nd and 20 here for Hawaii. Back close to midfield. Yellen chased didn't have much time, was looking in the direction of Jordan Murray on the near sideline, but more pressure applied by Mike Allen. He has been busting free on a few occasions here so far in this first quarter.
Yeah, they're running some stunts. This is only a 4-man pass rush. Oh, actually, it's 5. They're coming off the edge. Good pickup by Diedrich as they slide the line to their right. He's responsible for the left outside rusher, but pressure is coming early and often. Offensive line going to have to continue to pick up stunts, dogs, blitzes, zone dogs.
So this is now 3rd and 20 here for the Bows. Yellen with a little bit of time, nothing downfield. He's going to fire on the run now, and it is nearly picked off, or is it picked off on the ricochet?
Ruling on the field is an interception. First down.
And they're going to say that it was an interception.
And I was just about to say, great throw. You're going to see Yellen right here. Step up, buy some time, go to his left, and deliver the ball right into the hands of number 18. He juggles it. Not a good throw. Not a good decision. Ball was wobbling out.
So the initial INT opportunity was presented to C.J. Jones, then bounced around like a pinball until B.J. Wagner was Johnny on the spot, able to come up with the INT.
The tip drill, the old tip drill. That was a poorly thrown football. The toughest thrown football is a right-handed quarterback going to his left on full sprint. But that ball came out and it was not tight. It wobbled, it floated, and gave Western Kentucky a good chance to make that initial interception.
So quick change as the Hilltoppers offense back on the field. 1st and 10, ball at the 32. That's a quick toss to the far side. Dawood Davis, and he's iced out of bounds after a solid game. Davis comes over from Oregon. He is a Biletnikoff watch list guy, but in his time at Oregon, Mario Cristobal, who was still there, called him the most unselfish guy I have ever coached. And we talked to some of the Western Kentucky coaches, and they agreed. They said this guy came to our campus, Bowling Green, Kentucky, and basically just did anything we asked of him. He is the most supportive teammate you will ever see. And they said what's ironic is the more he helps others achieve, which is one of his priorities, the more he seems to achieve. And so it's kind of that two-way street. They said Dawood Davis is the guy when it comes to that stuff. Braden Shager starting to get loose on the Hawaii sideline. That hints at a possible change at the quarterback position if and when Hawaii gets the ball back. Oh, how about that pop? An incomplete pass is the ruling. That was a devastating reaction
Ruling
here.
on the field is an incomplete pass. During the play, holding, offense, number 76, 10-yard penalty. It'll remain first down.
So Mark Good picks up the penalty, but how about Penei Pavihi saying hello?
Yeah, and Jonah Kahavai-Welch also applied that pressure, doing a nice job of beating protection. And you're right, Penei Pavihi with that hat on that football.
And we were talking about just some of the circumstances last week, right? Penei Pavihi had a would-be interception basically bounce off of his chest plate. Had he held on to that, it would have been a short pick six. It would have been 14-0 Hawaii. Things like that can change at least the course of a game, certainly. And then you had the two crazy fumbles, right, where Diedrich Parson gets it popped out of his hands. They're caught on the fly, both return for touchdowns, and those are morale fracturing type of plays.
Yeah, they always say 4 to 6 plays can change the complexion of a football game. You just mentioned 3 of those, and they all went the way of Vanderbilt. So you're exactly right. That game would have been 14-0. There would have been a different vibe on the sidelines in terms of how the defensive backs are playing. It would have been just an incredible difference. That was a huge football play. They dropped the interception.
2nd down and 15 here for Western Kentucky. Reed. That is a bullet, and that is enough for a first down inside the Hawaii 40, connecting with Dawood Davis, JoJo Forrest on the coverage, but that was a frozen rope throw by Austin Reed.
Yeah, and it's another back shoulder play, and these are tough to defend for your defensive back, especially if their backs are turned and you got a big target out there and he's coming back to the football. Schematically, they're not going vertical on the fade route. They're doing a lot of comeback routes.
So 1st and 10 from the 35. And this is a first down run. On the handoff, the give is to Davion Irvin Poindexter, 5'11", 200-pound redshirt junior. Another transfer, spent 3 years at Indiana, but had 49 yards on the ground and a catch versus Austin Peay last week. Western Kentucky quickly back at it, trying to up the tempo.
You know, that previous run saw a couple of missed tackles, and you're going to see that. This game of college football is horizontal. You got to have good ankles. You got to get people to the point of attack. But Hawaii has to tackle better. They have thus far in the first quarter. That's one of the first missed tackles we've seen.
So 2nd and 10 here. 26 seconds left here in quarter number 1. Western Kentucky held scoreless to this point. That a bit of a surprise. Hawaii's only been able to muster 3 points, though. And a flag coming out. Could be offside. The throw to the end zone, incomplete. Tried to lead Michael Matheson. He got a paw on it. Wasn't able to haul it in.
Yeah, Panay Pavi trying to time that blitz up, but he
offside.
encroaches.
Defense, number 1. 5-yard penalty. Main 2nd down.
You work on that timing of the cadence. You try to time it up where you can beat protection. He's coming from depth at that linebacker position, but he definitely encroached the line of scrimmage. You're going to see this throw, a seam route, quarters coverage. The skinny post by the ex-receiver.
So that brings up 2nd and 5. See the time, 22 seconds. Fake handoff to Irvin Poindexter. And Reed's going to take off. Reed's going to get the first down. He runs out of bounds inside the Hawaii 10. And that's going to be a 1st and goal situation coming up for the Toppers, and they still have 14 seconds here in the first quarter.
Get good coverage downfield. You're going to see that underneath fake. Step up in the pocket. Probably could have took 3 or 4 more yards, and every yard is so valuable. As you mentioned, time left in this first quarter.
And so that will end,
that is the end
quarter number 1.
First quarter.
So, hey, it was sloppy at times. Hawaii went backwards a lot of the time. But after quarter number 1, a 3-0 advantage for the home team. But the Hilltoppers threatening when we come back. Welcome back here. We're at the lower campus of the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Clarence T.C. Ching Athletic Complex. Of course, Timmy Chang also representing another TC here at the field for these home games for the Rainbow Warriors. 3-0 after quarter number 1, but a penalty-ridden first quarter. In fact, it took 52 minutes to play out. You had 5 penalties on each side. For Hawaii, 4 of their 5 penalties were on offense.
Yeah, and that's where they're struggling, right? The other 2/3 playing pretty inspired, fundamentally sound. They have to get that offense going because you're not going to keep Western Kentucky out of the end zone, off the scoreboard much longer. This is a potent offense, and they're figuring things out as we go.
And so it is 1st and goal just inside the 10 here for Austin Reed and company. It is a handoff that's given to Davion Irvin Poindexter. He's rolled up Blessman Ta'ala. May perhaps get credited with the tackle. Not a lot of stats over the career of this guy, Blessman Ta'ala, but that does not indicate his value to this Hawaii defensive front. And there you see him able to move off of the blocker and make the play.
Tremendous explosion, tremendous strength, 400-pound power clean, 450-pound bench press, plays with a low center of gravity. He is the best player on this football team, especially on this defense. He's tough to block inside.
Saying immovable object. He's one of those, right?
Yeah, and what Rob said too, it's availability. He's been available every single week.
And that's a completion to Daywood Davis. Flag comes out though, but Davis spilling into the end zone. And we'll see what this penalty will be about.
Pass interference. Offense, number 4. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Remain 2nd down.
Offensive pass interference called against Michael Matheson. We're taking a look at the catch here, but this may not capture the Matheson penalty.
It's a pick. So you basically had that block engaged before the throw, and you get to see this a little better on this wide look. Right there, you're seeing the rub route, as they call it on offensively. On defensively, they call it the pick route. Good job by the officials noticing that transpired before the play.
So these two teams on offense, they are appearing as though they're allergic to the red zone. They are backtracking, it seems, when they get these opportunities close to the goal line. Western Kentucky doing the same here, 1st and 10, or 2nd and goal, I should say now, outside the 20 at the 22-yard line.
Tyson Helton said he gets more involved in offensive play calling in the red zone.
Here's the throw to the deep corner, and it is incomplete. Sails long. Again, the intended target, Michael Matheson. We have another penalty flag.
It looked like JoJo Forrest 8 had great coverage. I didn't see any contact on the outside.
These guys in the stripes,
They're busy.
they're earning their keep here this evening. A long discussion here. Look at Tyson Helton in his 4th year. 2019 Conference USA Coach of the
Pass
Year.
interference. Defense, number 8. 15-yard penalty.
Wow.
And automatic. First down.
So you had offensive pass interference, and immediately following, defensive pass interference against JoJo Forrest.
Forrest, the Oregon State transfer, has, according to Abraham Elamimian, the best covered corner, has dog in him, has that arrogant attitude in terms of playing out there on the island. They love this transfer from Oregon State.
So right back inside the 10-yard line go the Hilltoppers. Coming off of a 38-point performance against Austin Peay. They won 38-27. Yet to score here, but they're looking to change that. The give is to Irvin Poindexter. He doesn't get much, gets maybe to the 4. Isaiah Tufongo, one of the guys wearing the black jerseys, making the stop.
Yeah, Hilltop's trying to change the map. You got the guard, you got the tackle pulling, little trap play. Actually, the H-back, 89, comes up inside.
So 2nd and goal. Spotted just inside the 5-yard line. Fake handoff. Reed completes it to Dalvin Smith, and he crosses the goal line for the touchdown. Dalvin Smith, who had no catches and just 1 target last week against Austin Peay, but he breaks the scoring ice for the Hilltoppers here in quarter number 2.
Yeah, and you're going to see, watch 17 do the pivot. You got the fake, ball fake to the left. Really a nicely designed offensive play to get speed on the perimeter versus one of your linebackers.
So the 4th-year topper getting into the end zone, and Braden Narveson on for the point after. He is 104 for 104 in PATs in his career. And that one is once again perfect. So 7-3, Western Kentucky finally breaks the scoring ice, and they jump in front. Austin Reed to Dalvin Smith for 6. Tack on the PAT. 7-3, Western Kentucky.
Great use of personnel, bunch formation. You're going to see 17 go across almost the center, come all the way back in space, and use that speed to get to the outside. You see 47 linebacker Noah Kemmy. You see a bunch of Rainbow Warriors. But that's how you use grass. That's how you use the whole field from a tight formation. Great play design, Tyson Helton and that offensive staff.
So 7-3 after the scoring drive for Western Kentucky. It would ultimately be 10 plays, 68 yards, soaking up 4 minutes and 1 second off of the clock. Capped by that 5-yard touchdown pass from Austin Reed to Dalvin Smith. Chucky Hines and Jalen Purdue back to receive this kick here following the touchdown. And it will be taken by Purdue, and he will kneel down in the end zone. Let's go down to Scott Robbs. He is with a VIP here in Manoa this evening. Scott.
Yeah, no question, a VIP, one of the all-time great Rainbow Warrior football player is Jesse Sapolu. Kind of full circle for you, Jesse. You're here watching your son coach the offensive line. What's that like?
It feels weird, but at the same time, I'm proud. I just want them to understand that, you know, it's going to take a little time to build it one play at a time or one game at a time.
Your thoughts about playing on campus and what you've seen from Hawaii?
Man, this is awesome. I wish I played here when I was playing, you know, get the student body here all involved, and it just has that passionate feeling to the stadium.
I know we have a lot of 49er fans in Hawaii. How are the Niners going to be this year?
Well, you know, we got Jimmy G back, so that's a great thing. You can never have enough good football players, and I think, you know, Trey Lance, Jimmy's going to be good for him. And we got the rookie, Brock Purdy, that's going to be, Jimmy's going to be good for him also.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you.
Guys, back up to you.
Thanks a lot, Scott. Always great to see Jesse Sapolu hanging around the field.
Yeah, and just as we're talking to Jesse, the offensive line has a gaping hole, a great run, a first down, and inspired play by that offensive line.
Yeah, that was Najee Bryant-Lele on the carry. Braden Shager in at quarterback, by the way, on this drive for the Rainbow Warriors. And they keep it on the ground again. Will Ignat will make the play defensively. But there is a look at Braden Shager, 6'3", 215-pounder, still a frosh from Dallas, Texas, from Highland Park High School. Last week was 18 of 35 for 161 yards, was sacked once against Vanderbilt. He had his moments last season, certainly. Made 3 starts, had 6 appearances, was 2-1 as the starter. One of just 13 true frosh in the nation to start a game last year. And he was at the helm against Fresno State when Hawaii pulled off a pretty remarkable upset victory on this field.
Yeah, and I think Braden Shager obviously has the most experience as a Rainbow Warrior quarterback. Also, a little tighter in the passing game in terms of his spiral, the velocity on it. He's a big, tall kid. He's got a little bit of mobility, and he made good decisions early last week, and I'm glad that they're going to the bench and the backup is in the game because he could be the starter based upon his performance here in the second quarter.
Joey Yellen goes 4 for 11 for 36 yards, had an interception. So he got his opportunity in that first quarter, but now it is Shager to see if he can try to get this offense going, but he throws it right into the hands of a defender. And this is going to be taken back for a touchdown. Jawan Jones, 6'3", 275-pound redshirt senior, snatched it out of the air, and he takes it back for a big boy touchdown. 38 yards on the pick six.
Coming off the left side, 34 with that skilled number, looks like a skilled athlete, and he's a big man moving quickly. Might be one of his first touchdowns of his lifetime. And good job of reading the quarterback's eyes, understanding the screen, retracing your steps, and basically making the big play.
A 4-year starter. He is third in the FBS era of Western Kentucky football, which dates back to 2009, in career sacks. That time, though, he gets the pick six. The point after by Braden Narveson is good, and so Braden Shager is given the opportunity. And it winds up as a Hilltopper snatch and score by the big fella. 14-3 Western Kentucky. Well, the big fella, Jawan Jones, with the pick six. 14-3 Western Kentucky. We have girls ILH volleyball coming your way on Spectrum OC16 Thursday. Kamehameha Kapalama and Punahou. But my, how the tone has changed. Braden Shager comes out of the bullpen, so to speak. You see him talking with his head coach, Timmy Chang. And on his first drive, he gives the ball right to Western Kentucky. And Jawan Jones knows what to do with it. He goes back 38 yards for the pick six.
Yeah, no stranger to big plays. 4th all-time in tackle for losses. He's also has 17.5 sacks. That's 7th all-time. But I think that's his first time he's reached pay dirt. But he's got that 34 number, you know, as a
yeah,
DN,
exactly.
and he's like, I want to be an athlete.
Line me up at corner, coach. That one bobbled in the end zone. That was Jalen Purdue, takes a knee, and so Hawaii's offense will come back out onto the field. And so here is the dilemma, Rich, right, is you have these two front-running quarterbacks in Braden Shager and Joey Yellen throughout camp. Timmy Chang said that their evaluation was so close, it was very hard to determine who should be the QB1. He goes with Shager last week, had its ups and downs for sure, gives Joey Yellen the chance in the second half, started off well, but there wasn't any kind of stranglehold put on the position. That didn't necessarily take place in the week of practice running up to this game either, and here you are now in the position where neither quarterback, very early on here for Shager, obviously this is just his second possession, but neither quarterback really lightened the world on fire offensively here for Hawaii.
Yeah, both have struggled, and they struggled last week, and that to me is the biggest question mark of this football season, is the emergence of the quarterback. And you can see the replay, the quick slant underneath center, that's the three-step game, but basically he's taking that ball and getting it out. Jonah Pinoki lining up at wideout.
Yeah, good to see Jonah Pinoki out there. He was wearing a boot back on Tuesday at practice, and there was some concern as to whether or not he'd be available for this game, but he is out there. Again, Zion Bowen's not available, will likely miss multiple games because of injury.
They're coming to practice both Tuesday and Wednesday. Seeing those guys not practicing is a scary thought, because this is already a very thin wide receiver group.
Give is to Najee Bryant-Lele. Getting a heavy dose of Najee here in quarter number 2. Lorenzo Hernandez and Derek Smith joining forces to bring him to the turf.
Good job at the point of attack by Micah Vanderpool, trying to get up to that second level. Aliki Tanavasa at center.
Aliki Tanavasa, one of the 4 captains for this team. Most experienced position certainly on the field for Hawaii, that offensive line. Here's Shager rolling to his right. He's going to throw deep. It's caught by Pinoke. Great hands exhibited by number 1. 6'2" junior out of St. Louis. Had a career-high 7 catches for 101 yards. 49 yards after the catch on 9 targets versus Vandy last week.
Nice job coming back across his body. Really great placement, tight spiral. Really nice catch by number 1, the big receiver from St. Louis.
Gain of 27, quick throw that time by Shager. This time he connects with another local product, Tamatoa Mokiao Atimalala, 5'10" junior out of Campbell High School.
Tamatoa did not get much run last week, but we saw what he did in the spring game. We know what he's capable of. He's a big play type of guy. Make a really nice slot receiver in that 11 personnel group.
Timeout. Western Kentucky.
So Western Kentucky.
That's the first charge of the half. Media.
Western Kentucky signals for a timeout, and so we'll keep it here, but you have the 22-yard connection followed by that connection to Mokiao Atimalala, his first catch of the season, by the way. And so all of a sudden, Braden Shager, after the rude awakening that was his first possession of this quarter and throwing the pick 6, all of a sudden, he's got a little thing going on this drive.
Yeah, talk about resiliency, talk about adversity. I mean, he comes in, throws a pick on his first play for a touchdown. He comes back out, and you know what? He's throwing dimes. He's making good decisions. He's looking like the quarterback that Timmy Chang thought he was early in training camp. He's got to continue to step up, play consistent football.
Good look here, by the way, at the new design of the helmets here this season. The top-up pattern stripe down the middle of the helmet replaced by the feather pattern that is supposed to represent the warrior and chief ties of the Native Hawaiian culture. And what I was happy about was the initial change to the design of the helmet actually shrunk the size of the Hawaiian Islands decal because they were going to make room for the performance stickers. And what they did was they decided to revert back to the original size of the Hawaiian Islands decal. And that makes this particular announcer very happy because that was one of my favorite parts of the helmet.
Well, you're from Maui, and Maui being the second largest island of the change, you were happy about just to be able to see that, see all 8 Hawaiian islands. But you know what I'm happy about too is it's got the Brotherhood on the back. It may be a little busy with all the other stuff going on, but the island chain to me with the H, I love that helmet.
It's a key. It's a key. But that is part of the effort of Timmy Chang, right? Trying to, in essence, sort of rebrand this program to announce via the Clarion to the rest of the country and beyond, right, into parts of Polynesia. Hey, look, this is Polynesia's team as well as Hawaii's team.
Yeah, there's no question about that. And Timmy's been very successful this offseason in terms of kissing babies, shaking hands, raising money. The players have had better nutrition. You see some facility improvements, and you see that everywhere you go. Timmy Chang has brought a lot of excitement back to this program.
Obviously, it is a long way between doing that and ingratiating yourself to the community around this program and putting together wins on the field. That is a different kind of thing altogether. He is still working on that second part, but I think that foundation that he had to kind of help repair coming off of what happened in the previous regime, that has gone well for sure. As Hawaii gets back onto the field on a 1st and 10, it is a handoff. Diedrich Parson back out there and never actually goes down. Jaden Hunter, one of the first guys to him. But that is vintage Diedrich. Well after the whistle, he's still always trying to charge for extra yards.
And it's good to see Diedrich getting carries. Last week, obviously, the 2 fumbles that resulted in 14 points. He had a little problem with ball security early last year, and then he came on and he was very good at securing the football. He's got to get his confidence, his mojo back.
Ian Shoemaker, offensive coordinator for Hawaii, says, hey, look, we talked to Diedrich this week. He knew what happened last week. We told him, you're still going to be our guy. You're going to be our bell cow in many ways. And here he is again on the give, trying to twist and turn and grind for extra yardage, and successfully does so. They're going to spot this at about the 16-yard line. Looked like he was dead to rights, closer to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and Keiki Misapeka, the running back coach, is going to like the second effort, like the low center of gravity, like the ability to use the offhand and continue to spin for extra yardage.
That is some of that Philadelphia toughness right there exhibited by Diedrich Parson. Started his college career as a walk-on. There were coaches and recruiting scouts that told him he was just too small to be a scholarship athlete. He's trying to change that perception for sure, continuing to do so. And look at the way he just continues to drive. This time it was Najee Bryant-Lele on the carry, who has some of the same characteristics.
Yeah, and you can see Jordan Murray at the point of attack. You're going to see Ilm Manning. You're going to see Aliki Tanavasa. And I guarantee you, Jesse Sapolo is smiling right now because Roman Sapolo, his son, had an opportunity to go with the San Francisco 49ers, his team. But he stayed loyal to Timmy Chang and the University of Hawaii, and it's paying off in dividends in this drive.
How about Hawaii just trying to run it right at the Hilltoppers here on this drive? It is Cameron Cooper now in at quarterback. For the first time this season, they run an option play. It's tossed back to Parson, and he breaks through for a Hawaii touchdown. 9 yards, Diedrich Parson to the house off of the toss from Cameron Cooper.
Quarterback option. That does a nice job of sucking up the end defender and then pitching it out to Diedrich Parson. You know Cooper has that athleticism. We saw what he did laterally in terms of his pro agility shuttle, his speed. He's known for that athleticism. Package him in the red zone. Package him in crucial situations. Good use of him by Ian Shoemaker. Great call.
And so Matt Shipley on for the point after. We got 2 good kickers in this ball game. Shipley 69 for 69 in PATs in his career, and he tacks that one on. Hawaii gets into pay dirt. Cameron Cooper to Diedrich Parson. We got a ball game. Welcome back. Moments ago, the ensuing kickoff following that Hawaii touchdown. Kyler Halverson, who had 72 kickoffs last year for a 64-yard average, 9th in FBS. And look at this Hawaii defense. It seems as though a flame has been lit here. Braden Shager, following the pick 6, put together a couple of great throws on that last drive for Hawaii. And then they decided to just run the ball right at the Hilltoppers. They did so successfuli. Then they bring in Cameron Cooper off the bench to run the option play. The defense also now responding.
Yeah, Blessman Ta'ala. When you talk about strongest players in Hawaii history, Ma'a Tanavasa, Isaac Sapawanga, Blessman Ta'ala, because of his leverage and his strength, he's using his hands better. He has good get off, and he plays with good pad level, clogs that middle up every time.
They run the reverse to Michael Matheson. And he'll get positive yards, but he pays the toll as he took a good lick at the end of that play. JoJo Forrest was in the area. Jonah Kahavai Welch as well.
Yeah, and that was most of the run problems last week was on the perimeter. Who has force? Who has contained? Who's supposed to fill? You know, they were tackling fundamentals as well, but Hawaii, again, playing with enthusiasm, with adrenaline, had a great week of practice, tackling better angles, coming to balance. It's nice to see fundamental footballs because that's what the Rainbow Warrior fans expect.
And giving the fans a reason to make some noise as well here on 3rd and 4. Back to throw is Reed. Fires to the far sideline. It's caught by Matheson. And that's enough to move the sticks.
Yeah, and it wasn't because Jacob Euro was afraid to dial it up, because they dialed it up. Put those corners on the island, and if you're going to give up something, you got to give up the out. Stay inside. Keep your leverage at that cornerback position, and I'm so glad that Abraham Elamimium's coaching corners again, because he's as good as there is.
That last Hawaii drive, by the way, 9 plays, 75 yards for the score. 3 minutes and 56 seconds. And now the Hilltoppers trying to forge a response of their own. Under 6 minutes to play in half number 1. Reed with the short throw, surviving that initial blow was the pass catcher, Jakari Moses.
Yeah, Ty Marsh coming out of coverage, getting off the stock block. The first initial hit, allowing guys to get east and west, and then there's Panay Pavihi. Good leverage, good job of constricting the ball carrier.
So that'll be a loss of about a yard on the play. 2nd and 11 here for the Toppers. Another part of that last drive, we mentioned just how long it lasted. That was another objective for Timmy Chang. They wanted to try to sustain drives and keep this quick hit offense, at least as it's reputed to be, off the field as much as possible. That's going to bring up 3rd down. Moses on the carry, and there's Ty Marsh again.
Ty Marsh, and then in the last play, there was Anthony Sagapolutelli, who was a walk-on transfer from UNLV. But you're right, Ty Marsh. Last week, corners got a little nosy, outside backers got a little nosy, safeties were inside. They have to keep that outside shoulder free. Nice job of playing that contained position.
Cue the crowd, 3rd and 8. Reed looking to the sideline for instruction. Still 12 seconds on the play clock. Beautiful to see fans here at Clarence T.C. Ching Athletic Complex. Trying to make an impact. Reed with time. He's going to break out and run. He's going to get 1st down yardage, slides across midfield. And that quiets the crowd here on hand, at least momentarily.
But you're right. It's nice to see fans cheering into the 2nd quarter. Defense playing well. Special teams. Offense starting to move the ball. And you're going to see right now, great coverage downfield. What we call that, if it's a sack, is a coverage sack. But great job of plastering the receivers downfield. The safeties overlapping.
It seems as though this game has found a certain rhythm and flow, too. I mean, you're talking about a game with 12 penalties, 6 on each side, and it just, as I say that, of course, whistles are blown, but it just seemed as though it was herky-jerky.
1st down is under further review.
They're going to review whether or not Austin Reed got past the 1st down marker.
Where he slides is not necessarily where the ball, it's where he attempts to slide, where he gives himself up. Where that butt drops.
Okay, so George Gussman is in the booth with us. He is our Spectrum Sports rules analyst. That is another tweak to one of the rules, right, George, is on the slide. Can you explain?
Actually, what we're looking for here is when he drops his butt, where is the ball? That's the key to the ruling. It's not an easy call, just because everything's gone in full speed. But what we need to see is a view when he drops his butt, where is the position of the ball? And in this case, in relation to a 1st down.
Yeah, and so that's something to further protect the offensive players if they give themselves up. So basically what they're limiting is the ability to fake a slide as has been executed in the past. Once you're beginning to slide, you are giving up.
That's called the Kenny Pickett rule. He faked the slide, kept going. You've got the intention to go down, you give yourself up.
What we need here is a line view, to see where the ball is when he drops his butt.
And then the problem with these type of things too is then you got to figure out where the clock is, and you want to, and it could be 4th and 1. Very crucial situation.
After further review, replay determined the quarterback began to slide prior to reaching the line of gain. The ball will be placed at the 47-yard line. It'll be 4th and 1.
That's a great example of that tweak in that particular rule, right, Rich?
Yes, exactly. And we're lucky to have George Guzman up here explaining the intricacies, the nuances of the new rule. Because he's way past the line, but
sure.
It's not where you slide to. It's not when you get touched. It's when the intent to go down happens.
Yeah. And so I think in any other year, that would have been granted a first down. Instead, they're going to say it's just short, and they're going to say it's 4th and 1. So this is a pretty weighty play here at this stage of the game.
Especially with this field position. They're not over the 50. They're not in 4-down territory. This is why Tyson Helton makes the big bucks.
Reed out of the shotgun. And whistles. Just as I was talking about the flow of the game, we have a timeout.
Hawaii will take their first charge, time of the half, 30 seconds.
And there was something that Hawaii was seeing there pre-snap that prompted them to call a timeout. 3:35 left in the first half. This is sort of the game within the game, right? The chess match between the two sidelines.
You're right, and maybe it's somebody up in the box saying that Hawaii's outflanked. They're not in the proper coverage, the proper front. They get that word down to Timmy Chang. He has to go to the official and get that timeout called. Really a nice job in terms of procedure, protocol by the Hawaii defensive football staff.
Yeah, and interesting, right? We talked to both offensive coordinators or play callers for either side. And you have, in the case of Hawaii, Ian Shoemaker, who calls the plays from up in the booth, communicates with Timmy Chang down on the field to communicate with the players in turn. And you have the co-offensive coordinator, play caller for Western Kentucky, Ben Arbuckle, who prefers to be down on the field for said communication purposes.
Yeah, and Jacob Euro, the defensive coordinator, is down on the field along with Abraham Elamimian is up in the booth, and there has to be that constant communication.
So here we go again. 4th and 1. Ball at the Hilltoppers 47. And it's going to be a keeper, and it's going to be first down yardage, no doubt about it that time. Austin Reed.
Little quarterback power, right? You add the guard, you got the fullback, the remaining back leading up inside.
And this is an element of Austin Reed's game that I think has gotten a bit of a surprised reaction, right? I mean, he has run for key yardage in some pretty high leverage situations in this game.
Yeah, he's more athletic than I gave him credit for initially, and I've watched all of their tape last week, but
how about this play? Ends up being a flea flicker. Reed down the sideline. It's caught, and this is going to be a big gainer for Western Kentucky. In fact, it's going to be a touchdown.
47 yards, not good tackling, trickeration at its finest, the flea flicker.
Josh Simon, the tight end. This guy comes in decorated.
52 yards.
Did not do much last week. But here he is off of the flea flicker. That thing was fancy. It was designed in a laboratory somewhere, and they executed it to perfection. Josh Simon, who had 0 catches, 1 target versus Austin Peay. But this is a guy who was a former freshman All-American back in 2020 by The Athletic. And he was on the receiving end of that highlight play.
33, Peter Manuma trying to punch the ball out as he secures the tackle. You got to take that young man to the ground. Second man in will go for the strip. Peter Manuma went from 166 pounds to 190 pounds. Did a nice job this offseason getting bigger, stronger, but you got to take the young man to the mat.
The ruling of the first pass was thrown backwards, was not a legal forward pass. In their further review.
Oh, they're going to have another review here. And so there was a lot of the sleight of hand here on this play, and they're going to see if one of those exchanges was an illegal forward pass.
Right. You can't have 2 forward passes. The ball has to go backwards. I didn't see anything. I thought that was well executed.
On that first one, perhaps, Austin Reed off the snap, and it was almost like a shovel pass type of action. No. Seemed to be a straight handoff, huh?
That first toss is very close to being forward, and I think that's what replay's looking at. The second toss is clearly backwards. I think what we're looking here is number 8, where he releases the ball and when he's first touched, whether that's forward or backward. You're only allowed 1 forward pass in a down.
Yeah, that didn't look to be a forward pass, at least on the angles that we've been given. And I believe we're going to get a confirmation here.
Well designed, good flea flicker.
After further review, the first pass was legal, was not a forward pass. Therefore, the touchdown stands.
They're really not traditional flea flicker when I say that, because the running back now is actually the one who is lateraling to the wide receiver, who's giving it back to the quarterback, and it looked like it was executed.
It was
close.
That was some serious razzle-dazzle, though.
Yeah, it was. They're going deep into the playbook.
So Braden Narveson on for the point after.
You know, the thing about Tyson Helton is June Jones was not into trickeration. Now, he has also other mentors, you know, Coach Brom. You got some air raid stuff coming, and he's got a huge playbook offensively.
Oh, my gosh, and that one has to take the assist off of the left upright to go through. That is Braden Narveson, who has never missed a PAT in his career. Here's another look at the touchdown. Drawn up and executed with perfection. And how about the run after the catch by Josh Simon? Just would not be denied.
Yak, strength, fortitude, get into the end zone. You talked about Tyson Helton likes his receivers tall. He's got big tight ends. You 17 guys over 6'4". There's length, there's speed. This is a real football program.
Simon, they were expecting some huge things out of him last season. A 2-time All-Conference USA honorable mention. Last year, had 3 catches, 73 yards, 2 touchdowns in the season opener before suffering a season-ending injury. And so he is back, and he comes back here on this trip to the islands with a fury.
Mackey Award watch list, so you know there's talent. There's also production, and you mentioned that injury last year. He's a big-time tight end, good-looking young man.
And so Munson with the ensuing kick. This may be returnable here. Jalen Purdue going to take it across the 20 and finally gets rolled up at about the 23-yard line. 2:46 on the clock here in quarter number 2. That play took a little bit of the air out of Clarence T.C. Ching Athletic Complex.
Chucky Hines leading the way up there. Jalen Purdue trying to find a seam, trying to find some daylight. And Tyson Helton knows a lot about special teams, coverage, returns. He was part of that staff. He was the special teams coordinator when Chad Owen set the NCAA record with 343 return yards against BYU, leading the nation in kickoff returns in 2003. So he said, I'm part of all special teams, and I also help play call in the red zone. And make all head coaching decisions.
Wasn't there a plaque to commemorate the incredible year in 2001 on special teams leading the country?
Hawaii will take the second charge time of the half. 30 seconds.
This gives us a chance to talk about this as timeout is taken. We'll keep things here. But there's a story behind this, right?
Yeah, so I coach the front line, the front 5 guys. Wes Swan coaches the up backs. George Lumpkin coached the return guys. Tyson Helton was the overall special teams coach. He left that year. I think he got paid, partly because he led the nation in kickoff returns, and we couldn't find the plaque. The plaque is still missing, and he swears he is not in possession. Chad Owens and I are challenging him 20 years later to get the plaque back to Hawaii. He denied it. He thought it was good fun.
Yeah, he laughed it off, but when you were asking him about it, there was definitely at least a tinge of seriousness.
Some anxiety there?
There was something. No,
maybe I did take that plaque.
It was great to see you guys interact when we were talking with him earlier in the week. He had nothing but great things to say about you. Certainly, he enjoyed his time here for 4 years. He had just gotten married, said it was almost like a 4-year honeymoon being out in the islands. And obviously, he says he learned a lot from the coaches that he was surrounded by. This is Dior Scott and that end around, and he's going to be tackled for a loss. Halossi was the first one there for the Hilltoppers.
Yeah, a little jet sweep, really well defended on the perimeter. Usually what's happening is the nickel back, The corners are fighting off the stock blocks. They're keeping their head up, their eyes up. They're attacking the football, really well defended.
So another negative play here for Hawaii. And those are the three pillars, right? Negative plays, penalties, turnovers. Timmy Chang said there was too many of all of those last week. He said you can't even start getting into the other measurements if you are already sort of at a loss when it comes to those three primary categories. And we have seen Hawaii hurt by it again here this evening.
It's hard to play football behind the chains. It's hard to play enough when you're getting positive yardage in terms of offensive production. Again, nice job, good moves. But again, great pursuit, good angles, getting people to the football. But you're exactly right. Offensively, they didn't possess the ball. Defensively, they didn't take it away. They had problems tackling. They're performing much better, but they're going to have to continue to get some offensive production.
Hawaii 2 for 7 on 3rd down. Facing another one here. Shager in trouble. Plants the feet and throws an interception. Upton Stout with the pick. He had an INT TD last week. Got another interception right there.
Really poor decision by Shager because he was under duress. You need to take the sack, throw it out of bounds. You're going to see right here, great pressure off the edge. Nice job of staying alive, but right here, live to play another down. Even if you have to punt the football, do not throw it into coverage off your back foot. Poor decision by the young sophomore quarterback.
So 3 interceptions between Braden Shager and Joey Yellen. We saw Cameron Cooper out there run an option play. But other than that, it has been just Shager and Yellen attempting passes so far from behind center.
Yeah,
and look at this field position here for Western Kentucky.
Yeah, Hawaii's offense is responsible for giving up 21 points, 14 last week, 7, but the field position right now is advantageous.
Back to throw is Reed. Steps up in the pocket. He's brought down as he lets it fly. And that falls harmlessly to the field, incomplete. Westman Ta'ala and Andrew Choi applying some of the pressure there. Remember last week the halftime score was 21-10 against Vanderbilt. Of course, then they went on for a 35-0 third quarter en route to a 63-10 victory. But $1.24 left to play here in this first half at the moment.
Andrew Choi, the walk-on from Kaiser High School, the brother of Zeno Choi, has got bigger, faster, stronger. And I give Cody Cook a lot of that credit. He used to be trained by the great Chad Ike, but since he's been here at the University of Hawaii, he's gained 20 pounds of muscle. He's become more explosive. Andrew Choi is a productive player for this Warrior defense.
Western Kentucky will take their second charge time of the half. 30 seconds.
All right, so Western Kentucky signals for a timeout. Each team with a timeout remaining. We'll keep things here. $1.24, as mentioned, left to play here in this first half. And this is one of those scenarios, 21-10, if Hawaii takes this into the halftime with some of the turnovers, with the penalties, you're feeling kind of okay about yourself, right? If Western Kentucky ends up scoring here, it's a little bit of a different vibe.
And then it's that whole thing about taking it away on defense, which they haven't done. But more importantly, they're giving the ball away offensively. And that has to stop for this team to be successful.
Well, you wanted to see some improvement here this week because obviously next week, a major challenge. You go to Ann Arbor, the big house, against number 8 Michigan. You see the upcoming schedule after that. Hawaii back home against Duquesne and a couple of road games. We will be bringing you a lot of that action here on Spectrum Sports. This is a bit of a shovel-like pass that goes to Malachi Corley. This guy is blazing fast.
Yeah, and that was man coverage, and you saw the Hawaii defender trying to get through that formation to tackle the man with the ball, which was his man initially, and then you saw a great block on the perimeter.
And Verdell Edwards and Matangi Thompson both chasing that one down. 3rd down coming up.
Verdell Edwards, one of the best-looking boundary corners we've seen in a long time. He looks like an SEC player, and he plays that boundary corner. He's good against the run, getting better against the pass.
Got that size, 6'2", 210, transfer from Iowa State. Big play here, 3rd and 3, play clock down to 2. And stumbling out of the backfield was the running back, Jakari Moses. And so that's going to bring up 4th down.
Quarterback, running back exchange. I'm not sure they ever got into the pocket. Good job by Noah Kemba, 47, coming off the edge.
So, field goal attempt coming up here for Braden Narveson.
Excuse me, Noah Kamana coming off the edge, and we all know who his dad is, Tim Kamana, and John Kamana, the uncle.
So the preseason Conference USA Special Teams Player of the Year, Braden Narveson, to attempt a 26-yarder here. And this one clangs off of the left upright, and it is no good. He nipped the post on that PAT on the last Western Kentucky touchdown. That time, he nails the goalpost, and it is no good. The score frozen 21-10.
Yeah, and there's no tougher kick than as you get closer, being on that left hash. College football hashes being wider, it becomes more of an angle kick. And we talked about how prolific he was with his 141 points. He's perfect on extra points. That one clanged off the left upright.
He was 23 of 29 last season with a long of 53. And to be honest, there's not a lot of wind to speak of at the moment here in Manoa.
But if you know anything about mechanics, he's talking about his plant leg slipped. I mean, he was motioning towards that, but there's no excuses when you get that close. That's a win for Hawaii's defense and special teams.
And so Hawaii with 27 seconds to see if they can try to do something here, or are they just going to take this score into the locker room? That is exactly what they're going to do. Braden Shager takes a knee, and Western Kentucky will allow the rest of the time to tick off the clock as well. So for the second straight week, Hawaii will take a 21-10 deficit into the locker room against a team that is favored.
Yeah, and let's hope the coaches make better adjustments. Let's make sure the coaches play more fundamentals. We got to score offensively, take the ball away defensively.
That is the end of the first half.
A first half that seemed to have no rhythm because of all the penalties, and then it started to find a flow when the dust clears. 21-10, Toppers on top at the back here at Clarence T.C. Ching Athletic Complex. It is halftime. Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky up 21-10 on the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. We welcome you back up in the booth next to Rich Miano. I'm Kanoa Leahy. And Rich, that was one of those first halves. A lot of would-haves, could-haves, and should-haves from Hawaii's vantage point. Just one drive in that first half that went beyond 21 yards.
Yeah, inexplicable offensive inefficiency. And then the 3 turnovers, 3 poor decisions, 1 by Yellen, 2 by Shager. You're not going to win many football games when the turnover ratio is 3-0. They're tackling better on defense. They've been put in poor field positions, and they've responded. Special teams not playing poorly. This offense has to generate some chunk plays, get in the end zone, and get some enthusiasm back on that sidelines.
Yeah, you had both quarterbacks, at least both front runners, to get the start here today. Joey Yellen, who did get the start, and Braden Shager combining for 3 interceptions. What else do you see from the numbers, Rich?
Well, that, again, is the biggest thing. You know, -2 in the turnover, but also the penalties in Hawaii's offense. And you look at the total yards, 232 for Western Kentucky, only 122 for the Warriors. The Warriors have to continue to try to run the football, but make good decisions, get that passing game going, get maybe #1, Jonah Panoki, a few more looks.
All right, well, let's send it down to Scott Robbs. He talked with both head coaches. Scott, what did they say?
All right, talked to Tyson Helton first from Western Kentucky. Obviously was not pleased with the inability to take advantage of that turnover right before halftime. He also said way too many penalties by them in the first half. However, one thing he was happy with, the way the defense played. On the other side, Timmy Chang said, we've got to stop shooting ourselves in the foot. Turnovers, penalties, those things we need to clean up. If we do, we can make this a pretty entertaining ball game in the second half. Also, by the way, he said he's going to stick with Shager at quarterback to begin the third quarter. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Scott. There are a couple of injuries that we have been informed of. Stephen Bernal Went, starting left guard for Hawaii out of Kaiser High School, is out. We are going to not see him the rest of the game. And also Leonard Lee, we are told, is going to be out the rest of the game. Undisclosed injuries for both of those players. Hawaii set to kick here at the start of this second half. You heard what Scott Robbs had to say. Timmy Chang declaring that Braden Shager will continue to be the quarterback here, at least to start this third quarter. Your reaction to that?
Interesting, because there were 2 really bad decisions, bad throws by Shager, but he did have a couple of nice throws in one of those drives that resulted in some points for Hawaii. Joey Yellen couldn't get anything going offensively. This is a tough decision, and obviously the most important decision, and that's why it wasn't settled 2 weeks before the first game. That's why the quarterback decision hasn't been settled this evening, and I guess in the second half, we'll see what happens. But one of these quarterbacks is going to have to step up.
So the kick by Kyler Halverson here to start things off. And quarter number 3 goes through the end zone, and so Western Kentucky's offense will be on the field. And as you alluded to when we came back from the halftime, Rich, this is a Hawaii defensive performance that has not been that bad. They have made some plays when they needed to. There's been some good fortune, certainly, with regard to special teams. Hawaii's offense just needs to get it going, but can the defense provide that stage here to start this third quarter?
Yeah, they're going to need sacks. They're going to need takeaways, cause fumbles. They're going to need interceptions, but they have been tackling exponentially better. I like the play of Panay Pavi. I like what Blessman's doing up front. On the corners, they're doing a nice job on the perimeter. They have better force, fill, contain. They are executing their fundamentals, but offensively, they have to score points.
It'll be a running play here to start things off in the second half for the Toppers.
Whatever we can do.
Not much on the ground for Kai Robichaux, 6 foot, 215 pounds, sophomore from Columbus, Georgia, out of Glenwood High School. Played all 14 games as a freshman last year. Best game was actually in the Boca Raton Bowl. That was against Appalachian State. Ran for 67 yards and a touchdown.
That's the way Chris Brown, the linebacker coach, teaches Panay Pavi. He had a great stance. He watched the guard pull. He filled. He got off the block and made that tackle on first down.
Reed lets it fly. It is complete, but immediately the pass catcher Malachi Corley is brought down by JoJo Forrest. Check that. That's Malik Hausman making the play.
Yeah, Hausman, the nickelback, does a nice job of going across the formation. You're going to see a lot of nickel. You're going to see a lot of dime. You've seen a lot of odd fronts, three-man fronts.
Malik Hausman, the transfer from Arizona out of Bishop Gorman, was recruited on the front end by Hawaii of his collegiate career. Took the circuitous route to get to Manoa ultimately. And that pass to the far sideline, incomplete, intended for Daywood Davis. And so Hawaii's defense holds here on the opening possession of quarter number 3.
Again, it's the transfer from Oregon State. JoJo with tight coverage. You're supposed to take away the inside, let them throw the out, and you're going to see number 8 close on the receiver, play the upfield shoulder. That's a tough throw. Great coverage on the outside. JoJo Forrest.
Dior Scott is back to receive this punt here from Tom Ellard. He gets into it, sails high into the Manoa night, and Scott fields it at the 27 and gets blown up. Didn't appear to signal for a fair catch, and so he was wide open to take a shot, and he certainly did.
Great punt, great coverage, great hang time, 45-yard net, and a big-time tackle. Buckle it up. Saw a lot of helmets flying all over the place today in college football. Good tackle. Eyes up, head up, come to balance, wrap up. 6-inch rising blow.
Davion Williams laying the lumber there. 1st and 10 for Hawaii from the 26-yard line. Again, Braden Shager, the quarterback here to start quarter number 3. It's given to Dedrick Carson. He'll make that Najee Bryant Lele, and he's able to veer off to the near side, and he'll get a gain of 8.
Lele gets the edge, shows the speed, uses the off arm, picks up really positive yardage. So much easier for Ian Shoemaker on 2nd and 2. You're going to see the underneath handoff, nothing happening on that inside zone. He breaks it all the way to the outside, to his right. Good ball security.
So 2nd and 2, Hawaii sticking to the run game. And once again, it is Bryant Lele, nickname we are told is Mojo. Hawaii trying to find its offensive mojo, and obviously one of the objectives here at the start of this third quarter is to exploit that run game.
Yeah, and Solo Vaipu now in for the injured guard, and we mentioned earlier in the Game On crew that he started 40 starts. So again, a veteran, a little bit undersized in terms of what he lost in weight for COVID, but a very aggressive player.
This time it's Dedrick Parson who does get his hands on the rock, and he'll go forward for 2. Jaquez Evans there on the stop. So steady dose of the backfield here to start this drive.
Yeah, and one of the things I talked to the coaching staff about, Coach Chang and the offensive staff, is maybe they left the running game a little early, a little prematurely last week. You got to continue to pound that thing. That will open some things up as the Hilltoppers come to more of a 7-man front with this 11 personnel group.
2nd and 8. Shager looking to throw out of the gun, and that one is intended for Jalen Wathall. And he is able to haul it in. That was a heck of a stretch effort there to make the catch. The defender was very eerily close to the ball as well.
Yeah, this is not a bad throw, but it's a better catch by Wathall. You're going to see him go down and get dirty on that football and get his hands underneath it. Wathall, the bright spot, the young freshman wide receiver from Texas last week with 5 receptions.
Another running play here for Hawaii. And we have a penalty flag coming out on that snap. Again, Najee Bryant-Lele getting some duty. And that's going to be a penalty against Hawaii.
Yeah, Manning, 75, they got on that hold. Again, he played at an all-conference level.
Holding, offense, number 75, 10-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
First of all, that official is joking about it, smiling, but he's got some big guns.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's going to make fun of Christian Watson for not turning his microphone on, because that would be that would be poor execution of your own instincts of self-preservation.
I think the officiating crew from the Mountain West Conference gets free memberships to 24-hour fitness, part of their package.
So the scenario, 3rd and 13 here for Hawaii. Shager hit as he throws, and it is complete. It's complete for a 1st down. And Hawaii will get into Western Kentucky territory. Jalen Wathall again making a solid catch.
Can't say enough about the mechanics of the offensive line. Watch, they squeeze this thing down. Shager goes to his left, throws back across his body. Big time play by Hawaii's offense.
17-yard gain there, and Hawaii going back to work with Najee Bryant-Lele on the carry.
Shager has a big arm. It's all decision-making for that young man, and he's still relatively young when you talk about quarterbacks. Yeah, sure, he had 3 starts last year, but he still has a long way to go, and if he can make better decisions, he'll win this battle.
Here he is throwing to an open receiver. It was almost hauled in by James Phillips. He went horizontal to the turf and trying to haul that one in.
Yeah. Phillips throttling down away from the safety. Shager with a little pump action, and that ball comes out hot now. And again, would have been a great catch, but as a wide receiver, you have to pride yourself. If it hits your hands, make the spectacular catch.
So a big 3rd down play here for Hawaii. Shager gets flushed, throws on the run, and this time wisely throws it out of play. He is rolled up after he lets it fly. Mike Allen coming into his kitchen, but there was an adjustment by Braden Shager as opposed to forcing a couple of throws like we saw in the 1st half.
Cerebral, especially because they know they're in 4-down territory. He's running hard to his right, decides to throw that ball out of bounds, live to play field position, possibly go for it on 4th down, but do not throw it into coverage. There's Timmy Chang talking to his young sophomore quarterback.
Well, decide not to go for it on 4th down. Matt Shipley is on to punt. Craig Burke Jr. back to receive the punt, but it winds up in the end zone. And so Western Kentucky will once again have the football when we come back. 10:24 left to play in quarter number 3. Toppers up 11. Welcome back. Let's go inside the numbers presented by Long's Drugs. How about this? Next week, the seating capacity for the stadium that Hawaii will play in, 107,601. Compare that to the capacity of this current retrofitted stadium. And they're going from the smallest to the largest in the NCAA.
9 times 8. Hawaii has 8 home games. If they had 9,000 fans, 72,000 would still be 30,000 short of the big house.
That's why they call it the big house. Western Kentucky's offense on the field. And this is Malachi Corley. Has been relatively quiet, certainly compared to the showing he had last week against Austin Peay when he went for the hat trick, caught 3 touchdowns. And in fact, Western Kentucky played Austin Peay in what was the first game to start of the college football season. And Corley scored the first touchdown of 2022, a 25-yard touchdown catch.
Panay Pavihi came from the inside linebacker position all the way to the sidelines.
Flea
Eerily
set the game
reminiscent
clock to 10-10.
of Darius Muasau. He's lost 30 pounds. He's quicker. He's faster. That was a good tackle on the sidelines, but he is down, and that again would be a huge loss to the Rainbow Warriors. You're going to see number 1 inside out, tracking that hip. Nice job of Jojo Forrest coming up, and Panay's still on the turf.
Yeah, Panay Pavihi, this is the second time we've seen him shaken up. Limped to the sideline earlier in the game. He did return. And there were a couple of things that occurred on that play. It looked like his shoulder and even his helmet hit the turf awkwardly.
Once was 268 pounds with his hand on the ground playing defensive end. Now inside linebacker Chris Brown continues to work with these guys, and I'm not sure if it's a shoulder, a hand, upper extremity. Hawaii defense needs number 1. He is not only a physical leader, he's an inspirational leader.
He had 4 tackles in a pass breakup last week against Vanderbilt. He is tied for the team lead in tackles here in this game with 5. Leonard Lee also with 5 tackles, but as mentioned, we were told that Leonard Lee is out for the rest of the game.
Great thing about that safety position, there's a lot of depth.
Fake handoff here. Reed with time, unloads down the field, has a man, it is incomplete. Oh, they were thinking big thoughts. Dawood Davis had the step, couldn't quite haul it in.
Yeah, and Dawood Davis is not only a big target, but he was an Oregon transfer, and he can flat out go. When he gets that stride going, it's 2 steps every 5 yards. But again, the lights here at TC Ching has caused a lot of problems on punt returns, kick returns, high trajectory type of throws.
Davis, 6 catches for 124 yards and a touchdown in the season opener last week. 3rd and 7 here for the Hilltoppers. Coming in from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Reed pressured, and that is incomplete. Was throwing in the general direction of Malachi Corley, but Jonah Kahahavai Welch was applying that much needed pressure off of the edge.
Big stop by the defense.
So 4th down, Dior Scott back to receive his Tom Ellard punt. See the numbers on these punts here tonight for Ellard. That's a low line drive, but look at the Western Kentucky roll that it gets inside the Hawaii 35. And that's where the Rainbow Warrior offense will get started. Still very much in this thing. 44-yard punt, 21-10. The Bows back on the field. Welcome back. There's some of the Hilltopper faithful that made the trip from Bowling Green, Kentucky. It's about an hour north of Nashville. And so the way the football team came to Hawaii was they actually bussed down to Nashville before getting on a plane and coming on out to the islands. But yeah, they got a pretty solid section of red over there in the Les Murakami Stadium end zone.
And Tyson Eldred's probably told the group of visitors that, you know, side street in, Rainbow Drive in, you know, where to go get the poke, and it's one of those deals where he still has love and aloha for these islands, and it's a great matchup.
Fake handoff here, well executed there. As you saw a lot of the defenders bite, and then he completes it to Jordan Murray. First catch of the game for the heralded tight end, Jordan Murray, 6'5", 240-pound senior. He wears number 7, just like Calvin Turner did last year. He looks like the supersized version of Calvin Turner.
Yeah, by far the best body, that H-back, fullback type of body. I mean, very physical, great athleticism, and a mismatch in the passing game on the perimeter.
12-yard gain. Checking down to Dior Scott was Shager, and that'll actually be a slight loss after the play.
Hawaii still looking to get that vertical passing game going. Offensive line getting time for Braden Shager. They've lost some of the speed, obviously, with Zion Bowens not available this evening.
Shager now 8 for 12 for 80 yards. So he does have the 2 interceptions, including a pick 6. Now on the run, throws incomplete. Running out of room to that near sideline. Jaquez Evans, donut, once again on the scene, bothering Shager.
You're going to see a nice pocket initially, but then Shager has to get out, and he seems to be running full speed to his right, where you only can have receivers coming back to the football, back to the sidelines. Really only one receiver in his vision.
Yeah, it looked like Dior Scott was actually trying to reestablish himself in bounds before making that catch. He had run beyond the sideline. So 3rd and long here for Hawaii. And they're going to swing it out. This is Carson. And he gets to midfield. That's going to be shy of a first down. It's going to be 4th and about 5. And so perhaps a decision to be made here by Timmy Chang and company.
Yeah, it looks like initially they're going to go for this. And
what do you think?
you got to think it's got to be something in terms of a quick throw, a bubble screen, a quick slant, a smoke throw, in 11 personnel, 2x2. Maybe getting Jordan Murray out on a release pattern. Quick strike to the flats.
First 4th down attempt. And that is a bullet that is picked off, goes in and out of the hands of the receiver, Dior Scott, and it'll be taken the other way. Caleb Oliver all the way to the Hawaii 15.
I called the quick slant, good throw. Receiver has to catch that football. Again, you got to look at the end of the day and see already 4 interceptions by Hawaii quarterbacks. The first 3 were on the quarterbacks. This one is on the receiver. Dior Scott has to catch this football.
And another freaky carom. We saw a couple of those last week. We have seen already multiple times that kind of bounce that has favored the opponent happen in this ball game. In this case, it was Caleb Oliver, who is playing a more significant role at safety because of the injury to starting safety A.J. Brathwaite, who had a pick last week against Austin Peay. Well, Caleb filling the bill with an interception of his own.
Yeah, the 2 high safety reading the quick slant, closing on the quick slant, and being around the football. The more jerseys you get around the football, the better the opportunities you have. Hilltoppers opportunistic on this defensive series.
3rd interception for Shager, 4th for Hawaii quarterbacks. Reed looking end zone, and it is caught. Touchdown is the signal.
The question is, does he come down in bounds, and is he not hurt, and did he control the ball?
And there does not appear to be much movement after the catch there. Let's take another look here. A dynamic effort, both offensively and defensively. Jalen Hall, they're going to rule that he came down with it. Again, the call on the field is a touchdown, but concern for Jalen Hall's condition in addition to whether or not that was the correct call.
Wow, he is in bounds, and it does look initially like a reception, but more importantly, is the young man okay?
And you see some of the looks of concern from the Western Kentucky fans. Silence here at Clarence T.C. Ching Athletic Complex. And they finally roll Jalen Hall over onto his back, but for a while there, he appeared to be basically motionless.
Back shoulder
Rolling
throw.
of the catch is under further review.
Looks like perhaps that helmet just bouncing off of the turf is so dangerous when you get caught off your feet at that kind of angle, but he is sitting up, and that is a great sign. But now the officials have to do their work, and they have to take a look as to whether or not this touchdown call stands.
It appears to me he catches the ball. I wasn't sure if he got his feet down. He didn't, but he did get his body down in bounds. But was there control throughout the catch?
Well, that's a good sign. All right, Jalen Hall popping up to his feet. But let's check with our Spectrum Sports rules analyst, George Gussman. What do you think about the call here?
All right, what we're looking for here is 3 things. Number 1, does he have control of the ball? Number 2, does he have a body part inbounds? and in this case, does he survive the ground?
The goalie on the field stands. Touchdown, Western Kentucky.
That's tough to see.
Well, they have confirmed the call. Would you, just from your vantage point, George, would you agree that that touchdown should stand?
I don't see anything that would say, I can't tell if his body part is inbounds. It's very close to the sideline. He appears to have control of the ball. And by going to the ground, he needed to survive that hit to the ground with control to make that pass complete.
Well, we appreciate George being available for our references. How about the quick change off the pick? Austin Reed throwing to Jalen Hall, the dynamic catch. He paid the price, though, and we hope that he certainly is okay. Point after now coming from Narveson. And that one is more characteristic right down the middle. 28-10, Western Kentucky. As Hawaii starts to see that margin increase. Welcome back. Time now for the Hawaii Honda Dealers highlight reel, and we're looking at the play of Austin Reed. 16 of 24 for 180 yards, 3 touchdowns, but he has also used his feet to help create some difficulty for the Hawaii defense. 5 rushes for 33 yards. Hey, look, he had some big shoes to fill in the form of Bailey Zappi, who was a record-breaking quarterback last year for Western Kentucky, broke the NCAA single-season mark for passing yards and touchdowns. And so a high bar for Austin Reed to try to meet, but he goes for 4 touchdown passes last week, 3 TD passes this week. Hasn't always been the smoothest ride here through the first 2 games of this season, but he continues to just kind of find a way to get the job done.
Yeah, 16 for 24 for 180 yards. You mentioned the 3 touchdowns, and that's 66, 67%. I think he's managing the game, making good decisions, and that's the most important thing, and seeing a lot of growth from that young quarterback.
Return possibility here for Jalen Purdue on the short kick, and he is rolled up out of bounds. They're going to say that he went out of bounds at about the 31, so decent field position to start after that return by Jalen Purdue.
Purdue, the thing about Purdue is he does get north and south. He has broken some kickoff returns. He has good visions. Most important thing, catch the football and get it out, plus 25 or better.
Yeah, 5'10", 170-pound senior from Lancaster, California. Transfer from Antelope Valley College. And so Hawaii's offense back at it. The deficit has increased, though, after that last interception converted into a touchdown pass for Western Kentucky. Shager continues. And he completes that one to James Phillips, who had some open area around him. Make that Dedrick Parson on the catch, who had some open area around him, veered up the field and was able to move the sticks.
Yeah, and you saw the 3, and he's out wide as a wide receiver. We mentioned earlier in the show that he is a wide receiver in their empty package. That's the versatility that Dedrick Parsons brings. He knows how to run routes. He catches the ball with his hands. I like this young man.
And here he is now on the swing out to the near side. And he's going to get close to another first down. So Dedrick Parson in the passing game. And you're right, that obviously caught me off guard seeing him in that position in the pass catching game on that previous play.
Plus we have commonalities. Philadelphia, walk on. You got to like this young man, and he's grown to be one of the leaders, a captain for this football team after only, 12, 18 months in Hawaii.
Came to Manoa via Howard, where he was the top rusher for 2 years. Over 1,500 yards, 12 total touchdowns. As that one, perhaps a little too much chili pepper water on that pass.
Yeah, much too hot. And Tamatoa Mokiao Atimalala is wide open on that slant, but you got to take something off the throw. It's not a touch pass, but you got to take something off your fastball.
See a lot of younger quarterbacks do that, right? It's a learned behavior to put a little more finesse on some of those throws over the middle. That would an over-the-shoulder catch for Parson, and he tries to put his shoulder pad down to get to that first down marker, but he'll be denied about a couple of yards shy.
Yeah, that's a great job on the perimeter. That's shock and awe by that corner. You get your hands in, you get your hips, you move your feet, you get off the block. You're going to see a phenomenal defensive play short of the first down. Nice job of running inside out, but more importantly, a big hit on the sidelines by the defensive corner.
That was B.J. Wagner making several plays here this evening. Fourth down, Hawaii going for it, down 28-10. Closing in on 6 minutes left to play in the third quarter.
Unbalanced line.
What do you think of the call here?
I think they're going to go weak side with the H-back coming back through the formation.
It's going to be a running play, and it's going to be a first down. Najee Bryant-Lele getting the call and getting the job done.
And if you want to call me Tony Romo, I'm okay with that because the H-back did come through. It was an inside zone, even though it went to the strong side. It's designed to go inside. And how did I know on fourth down? I'm close with Coach Chang. I know what he likes in those scenarios.
I love how you make the fourth down conversion somehow about you. That is such a Rich Miano move. But you did call it, and that was a conversion for Hawaii that keeps this drive alive. So 1st and 10 now. Ball just inside the Western Kentucky 45. Shager with flags aplenty coming out. Play continues, still looking downfield. Now he'll just throw it harmlessly out of bounds, but there's a whole lot of laundry on the turf here in Manoa. We'll see what this is associated with.
It's got to be a hold.
Good look there at Timmy Chang, Clay Helton. We talked about their relationship. Both had some very kind words to say about each other. A lot of praise there, a lot of respect. Timmy Chang says, he was a player at the time. He said, hey, look, you know when you see a young coach if they have the possibility to maybe become
foul,
something special.
Face mask, offense, number 75, 15-yard penalty, and a remain first down.
Timmy Chang saying that's what he identified in Tyson Helton. Take a look at this face mask here, top of your screen. El Manning.
Yeah, right there. He gets beat on the punch, and then he reaches out and grabs the mask, and you see a bunch of flags. Manning playing a great game last week. That's the second penalty on the tackle, who has close to 50 career starts. Started as a true freshman, one of the outstanding seniors. Another guy who's very valuable to this offensive line and this offensive football team.
He has been dubiously conspicuous here in this game, however. 5:15 left to play here in the third. And Hawaii first and a country mile. Traeger finally throws it underneath. It is caught. Complete to Caleb Phillips, the other tight end.
He's definitely looking downfield. He's looking to go vertical, and there's nothing there. So give credit to the coverage, then he checks it down. Offensive line squeezing things down inside. Plenty of time going through the progression. Check down receivers. Caleb Phillips, the tight end, transfer from Stanford.
So this is 2nd and 20. Shager steps up, has room in front of him, throws on the run, and that is caught. Nice catch there by Chucky Hines while he falls to the field. So Hines, good-looking frosh, 6'1", 175-pounder from Houston, Texas. He has had his moments certainly in practice, and here he is coming up with the catch.
And I think it's his first career catch, and he runs 22 miles per hour, the fastest Rainbow Warrior, the flying 10. This guy can stretch the field, 6'1", 175 pounds, a good-looking young freshman.
That brings up now 3rd and 4. They'll keep it on the ground, but that one is going to be stopped short of the line to gain. Bryant-Lele on the carry. Trey Shaw there defensively for Western Kentucky.
Straight inside zone play. Not a lot of room to run. You can see the inside backers mugging the A-gaps, trying to confuse the protection. Then the defensive tackles get down in that eagle position where they're both in one technique.
Deep throw by Shager, has a guy in the area, but it falls incomplete. It was looking downfield. This time it was James Phillips in the area.
And you mentioned James Phillips being from the Valley, Antelope Valley, Lancaster, the home of the great 33 Marco Johnson. This is a pretty good throw off his back foot, but you see how tight it is, and it's a catchable football. That's why you like to have those tall guys on the outside, the Jason Rivers, the Ashley Lalees.
So I believe they ruled that that was an interception.
Another one off the tip. I'm not sure we're going to get a chance to see this replay, but obviously the exchange of field position.
That caught a lot of people by surprise. That may have been Caleb Oliver again.
Again, this is not on the quarterback. It looks like it hits the ground right there. He does catch it, but was it the ground?
That is an incredible. If
Ruling
that
of an interception is under further review.
If that turns into another interception, you're talking about some of the unluckiest bounces you could ever see for a football team through 2 weeks of a college football season.
Yeah, we mentioned this is not on Shager either. The receiver has to make this catch, but you talk about being around the football and making the big play. Does it hit his arm?
Oh my goodness.
Golly. The crowd went quiet, and so did this booth.
So Caleb Oliver comes up with the play again.
That's now the 5th interception of this football game.
That would be number 5, indeed.
2 spectacular plays by the defense, 3 bad decisions by the quarterback.
All right, well, let's check with our Spectrum Sports rules analyst, George Gussman. What do you see in these replay angles, George?
Well, I think the question here is does the ball touch the ground at any time? And that's what replay is looking at right now. It doesn't appear so. The defender has control. So the
Oh my goodness.
It did not touch the
ball
ground.
never touches the ground.
That is
The receiver has
amazing.
control and has a foot in bounds and interception.
Great job by the Spectrum camera guys to catch
Yeah.
that. That was much more visible. And I think this play is going to stand as called.
Take one more look at this.
This
And
is only not touching the ground.
This seems pretty clear here that it doesn't touch the ground from this angle, right?
Right there. Yeah, it's pops back up.
I mean,
That's a great call by the
It is.
calling official. Just a great call to let the play out and see the complete result of the play. Excellent job.
yeah, that was some prime officiating right there and caught everybody by surprise and off guard. Second interception, meanwhile, for Caleb Oliver.
Wow. 5 turnovers.
The ruling of a catch stands. Ruling of a catch stands. First down.
Christian Watson waiting for the music over the PA system to be turned down. Guys, don't mess with this guy. I mean, look at him. Look at the way the black and white stripes just bend around that torso. Don't mess around with him. But as he mentioned, the call will stand. Now you look at the field position here for Western Kentucky, and this works in some ways, I guess you could suggest, kind of like a deep punt. Can Hawaii take advantage here? But I mean, you talk about the bounces, a snake-bitten type of series of caroms for Hawaii through 2 weeks of football. Time to call the kahu. It is time to bless this team, perhaps, here in the early stages of 2022.
No question about that, because we've talked about bad decision making by the quarterback, but those are just unfortunate bounces, and the Hawaii receivers have to catch the football. And, you know, no excuses. Zion Bowen's not here. Jonah Panoke was injured all week long, not getting a lot of playing time. Some young receivers in the mix. Jared Ursua, the wide receiver coach, does a nice job. I've watched him at practice, and just got to catch the football.
2nd and 6 here for the Toppers. Again, tucking and running is Reed. And he gets lit up, coming in like a cannonball was Ty Marsh, but we're going to have a penalty flag. And you see some of the reaction after the fact from Austin Reed.
Chance to see on the replay if it's a late hit, personal foul, helmet to helmet. Yeah, I'm not sure it's not helmet to helmet by Ty Marsh, number 4. Looks like helmet to helmet.
I'm not sure.
Could be on the celebration.
This is a long discussion among the officials.
There is contact with the head. It's not egregious. I don't think it's malicious.
And you
but
also have to look at whether or not that is the crown of the helmet.
yes, the top part of the helmet. And he's coming with the shoulder as well.
After the play, personal foul, late hit with targeting. Defense, number 4. That 15-yard penalty is added to end the run. Automatic first down. The previous play, under further review.
All right, they're going to take a look at targeting in addition to the late hit. So let's, if we can, open up the mic for our Spectrum Sports rules analyst, George Gussman. So a lot to unpack here, George. Where do we start here?
I think the first thing we want to do is see if he's a defenseless player. The question here is, has he started a slide? And if the runner has started a slide, then he is deemed to be defenseless. And that is, in my mind, the question here. Because if he's defenseless, then any hit into the neck and the shoulder area is targeting.
In my humble opinion, it's not getting overturned because, again, the safety of this. Now, will he be ejected, I think, is also part of this whole deliberation.
Correct. I mean, he would be disqualified. All targeting plays need to be confirmed. We are no longer dealing with targeting on a stance basis.
Well,
and here's the call.
Let's listen in.
After further review, replay confirmed the call of targeting against number 4 of Hawaii. Players disqualified from the game by rule.
George, can you now talk about how this goes to another committee in terms of being out for the next week's game based upon their ruling?
And this being the second half.
Correct. So there is a new rule this year that if Hawaii feels like it was not targeting, they can send it up to the Mountain West, who will then review it. And if they feel in favor of what Hawaii is saying, they can send it to the national coordinator, who will also look at it and make a final ruling.
So glad we have George, because there are rule changes every year, and knowing the rule book is so important. And we've had so many challenges and interesting situations thus far.
So as the dust settles, Western Kentucky goes back to work. It's Malachi Corley. Taken down by Peter Manuma.
Not to mention how many times we were wrong last year.
Oh, it's good to have an experienced official like George Gussman. This guy has called national championship games, and he's sitting up here in the booth with the two of us. It is a major downgrade for George. It is a major upgrade for us.
We are blessed. Peter Manuma from Campbell on that tackle. Good to see 33 involved in the mix.
Fake handoff and time to throw for Reed. It is complete. Craig Burt Jr. into Hawaii territory. And this is starting to feel at least a little bit like the opener against Vanderbilt, where you're starting to see perhaps some fatigue on defense. You're starting to see some big chunk plays by the offense.
Yeah, they're trying to go quick, too, but I think that was a flea flicker. I mean, that was interesting development offensively. I don't know if we'll get a chance to see that, but there is an equipment problem. There's the replay. Yeah, it's a flea flicker.
You're right. That was in a phone booth that they pulled that maneuver off, too.
Yeah, not your normal flea flicker where it's a vertical route, kind of a seam route. Again, Tyson Hilton not afraid to pull out, get deep into that playbook.
Yeah, they're getting jiggy with it now. Here it is, 1st and 10.
He didn't fly all this way to punt.
Reed stepping up. Throws to the far sideline. And is that picked off? JoJo Forrest.
Ruling on the field's an interception. First down, Hawaii.
Make that Malik Houseman, 6-foot senior from Las Vegas, Nevada. The transfer from Arizona coming up big when Hawaii needed it most defensively.
Yeah, Austin Reed throws this ball on the inside. You have to throw this ball on the outside. The receiver has to come back to the football. But give credit to Malik Houseman. Tough catch. Really a nice job of getting his hands underneath, rolling over with the ball, securing the catch. Hawaii's first INT of the season. Nice to see number 9, Malik Houseman, not making a house call, but making a very nice interception, crucial for Hawaii's defense.
Can Hawaii's offense now take advantage? Shager remains the quarterback. Over the middle, it's Murray able to go down and snag that one with those big old hands of his.
Yeah, and he delivers the blow, right? DBs are going to come in low on big number 7, and he's going to lower his shoulders. He's a physical type of player. Did a nice job last week and this week at the point of attack in terms of blocking, and that was the big question. Now he's lined up outside, double pocket position, 6 yards from the tackle.
Shager sets the feet, and he'll send that one well out of bounds.
One thing you're seeing defensively from the defensive coordinator is inside type of games, trying to flush Shager out of the pocket because he's not that mobile. And then you're seeing the contained person come late to make sure they can pull the quarterback up, putting some pressure on Shager.
Final minute of this third quarter.
Tyson Summers, the defensive coordinator, doing a nice job of mixing things up.
Give is to Parson, and he's dead to rights.
And they were coming. And whether that's a run dog or a pass dog, the analytics tell them what Hawaii does on third down based upon what they did last week. And overloading, protection. See big 23 unblocked.
Yeah, Will Ignat getting in there first.
Tough for that offensive line to pick up all the stunting and dogging and pressures they were seeing by Tyson Summers, the defensive coordinator. And that's one guy that doesn't get a lot of micromanaging because Tyson Hilton allows his defensive coordinator to call the game plan.
So Upton Stout back to receive, and kind of a worst case scenario here, right at a time where Hawaii is reeling a little bit and has gotten some very unfortunate luck. A quick possession for the offense. You start to wonder about the fatigue defensively for these guys. Second half that seemed to surface last week. Let's see if they can do something different here as we enter quarter number 4. 28-10, Western Kentucky over the Rainbow Warriors. Welcome back. Let's check out tonight's Heineken head-to-head stat line. Western Kentucky, 20 points off of turnovers. Hawaii supplying 5 turnovers, all interceptions, 4 by Braden Shager, 1 by the starting quarterback tonight, Joey Yellen. Shager has played the majority of the game, 14-23 for 132 yards and the 4 picks.
Yeah, and statistics can be misleading, and I always talk about turnover ratio, caused turnovers, possessing the ball offensively, taking away defense. Whenever your turnover ratio is +3, there's a huge chance you're going to win that football game. And right now, the Hilltoppers have been much more aggressive, more around the football, attacking. And Hawaii's defense hasn't been bad. It's the offense that cannot give the football away.
Another great play fake by Western Kentucky, and this one will go for some significant yardage. Joey Beljan, 6'3", 250-pound redshirt junior in the state of New Jersey out of Delaware Valley High School.
Once he got into that second level, third level, he just lowered the shoulder and carried a bunch of Rainbow Warriors.
And again, going up tempo, these Hilltoppers, they do not let your defense catch its breath too frequently.
Yeah, nice play there by 17, Isaiah Tufunga, not picking up that personal foul, not hitting the quarterback out of bounds, pursuing the quarterback. But you're exactly right. Western Kentucky looks like they're fresh. They have great enthusiasm.
Well, we've seen a little bit of everything in this game, right? From muffed punts to field goals that bounce off of the upright to targeting penalties, a whole lot of penalties, as a matter of fact, and a whole lot of replay reviews.
Yeah, and really sloppy that first quarter with those 10 penalties.
Some of the craziest bounces that have negatively impacted the Rainbow Warriors through these first 2 weeks of football.
Prior to the play clock expiring, Western Kentucky would take their first charge time of the half, 30 seconds.
So 14:05 left to play in the fourth. Another good look at Tyson Helton. The stories that you and Tyson have going back. I mean, it was as mentioned, fun to see you guys reuniting when we talked with him earlier in the week. But you had a story that was that actually it hit him pretty emotionally.
Yeah, he had just gotten married to April and had his wedding ring on. We were on Maui in a coaching clinic. Mel DeLore and I convinced him to jump off the Sheraton Black Rock. We didn't tell him to put his hands up as he entered the water from 40 feet. He loses his wedding ring. He has to explain that to his newlywed, April, that he has no wedding ring. He's with the boys in Maui, and he was so nervous, and he was a lot of fun to be around. He was a young buck during those times, and we took advantage of his youth.
He also commented on how you were one of those coaches, at least in his time here, that would always run with the players, like whatever running or conditioning drills they would do, you were right there running with them, kind of like Dan Campbell of the Detroit Lions, if anybody has watched Hard Knocks, doing the up downs. And yeah, you're still kind of like that.
60 and still trying to do push-ups and pull-ups.
Here's Reed, and that is a perfect strike. He is in his bag right now. The connection to Dawood Davis.
You've seen a lot of comeback routes. You've seen a lot of sprint action, waggle action, getting out to his right, and watch him throw this football. The toughest throws for defensive backs, especially the corners, are those deep comeback routes. It takes a strong arm, but that's part of the package. You're not seeing much verticality by the receivers. You're seeing a lot of sprint out, perimeter passes, comeback routes, some mesh concepts.
And some run and shoot concepts. Here, empty backfield on this formation. And with time, Reed finds his man. It is complete, and again, it is a first down play for the Hilltoppers. Dalvin Smith this time on the receiving end. But yeah, some of the influence of being on the same coaching staff as June Jones, right? Even some of the terminology, choice, divide. It's part of this scheme here for the Hilltoppers. Here's Reed looking to run again. And he gets gang tackled inside the 10.
True switch, and it really comes from the dad, Kim Helton, who obviously had a great relationship, coached with June Jones in the USFL, and then young Tyson comes along and is with Nick Rolovich and Timmy Chang, and he's like, he's not going to get rid of that run and shoot concept because he knows it works out of 10 personnel.
Yeah, you mentioned Dad Kim, obviously longtime coach, was coach at the University of Houston from 93 to 99.
What I liked is the fact that he still comes around practices and he's old school, and look out. And Tyson warns his players, Dad's going to be here this week.
Yeah, both Kim and Tyson have won Conference USA Coach of the Year awards. First time that's happened in the history of the league. Meanwhile, Western Kentucky continuing to apply the pressure. Kai Robichaux bursts in from 7 yards out to add to this lead.
The only other coaching duo, father and son, Bobby Bowden and Terry Bowden. Only 2 times in the history of college football.
After the play, on sportsmanlike conduct, Western Kentucky, number 16 for taunting. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff, touchdown. That's number 16, first on sportsmanlike conduct foul of the game.
Yeah, unsportsmanlike conduct actually being treated like other personal foul penalties here in 2022 as well.
With 2, that's ejection from the football game, disqualified. And I like that. If you're not smart enough once you get that first one to do something that hurts your team and you're that selfish, you need to sit by one of the coaches on the sidelines.
Braden Narveson on for the point after. And so that makes the score 35-10. Western Kentucky, they have found the traction here in Manoa. Here's a look at the scoring drive. 6 plays, 64 yards, 2 minutes, 25 seconds, and Kai Robichaux doing the honors. Taking it in for the score from 7 yards out. 35-10 Western Kentucky. And so Hawaii now playing against their opponent, also playing against the scoreboard as well as the clock here, with now 12:35 left to go.
Yeah, and similar to last week, defense has been on the field too long, and some of that is the inability to get it off. Some of it is the fact that the offense has turned the ball over 5 times, but way too many plays and what I think Tyson Hilton's going to be happy about is the rushing attack, averaging 4.7 yards per carry. Last week, right around 3 yards. They weren't physical. They wanted to establish the run, become more efficient with that running game, and I think they have this evening.
Here's Jalen Purdue getting under this kick. A short kick, takes it just inside the 20. Veers to the far sideline. This is going to be a solid return. And he is tossed upside down in front of that Western Kentucky bench.
Yeah, and the reason why that kick was short, too, because they kicked out from the 20 based upon the personal foul. But you're right, good return, good field position for the Warriors. Let's watch the end of this play. It's the kicker, 46. Yeah, he doesn't make too many tackles. He was just happy trying to get off the ground.
Yeah, that was Corey Munson. Didn't look like he grabbed Purdue in any way. It was just they were trying to both sort of get up, and meanwhile Purdue was still between steps midair. So no harm, no foul there. Here is Shager, fake handoff, completes it to Murray. He gets bent backwards after a gain of about 3. So how do we assess or begin to assess the performance of this Hawaii offense? Again, Braden Shager has played the majority at quarterback. Would you perhaps suggest that at least Hawaii has found its QB1, or is that still going to be something that is an open competition, you would believe?
He has made some good throws, but he has made some poor decisions as well. But if you just look aesthetically, he has a prettier football. He's a big, tall, strong quarterback, and Joey Yellen doesn't sometimes look the part, although he's 6'3", 225. But again, here you go, Shager completing a pass downfield.
A strike to Jalen Walthall, right on cue.
But this is not a decision that's going to be easy for Coach Chang, and that's the problem is you have to find quarterback 1 to get him the proper reps to make good decisions and be comfortable. You see him, good enough ability, athletic ability to scramble and then throw the football on the run to the receiver.
31-yard gain there. Here is Dedrick Parsons spinning and whirling his way forward for positive yardage. Yeah, Timmy Chang telling us it's kind of on the guys competing for the job. Someone needs to step up, assert themselves, as he was saying, right? They need to kind of snatch the reins. He compared it to his first year in 2000. Nick Rolovich had first come to the program. Timmy Chang was also on the team. And he said that it took us a while. We sort of jockeyed back and forth for someone to grab the reins. Timmy ended up grabbing it his freshman year, and then he ran into some injury in his sophomore campaign. Nick Rolovich then, of course, took over in 2001 and just absolutely lit the world on fire, and that sort of was his calling card in his quarterbacking career. He even said, hey, look, you fast forward to 2005, Cole Brennan and Tyler Gronke, a similar thing. At some point, somebody in this competition has to step up and grab the reins.
No question, well said, and that will be the biggest dilemma this football program has moving forward, is who is the quarterback. And I don't think it's been clear-cut, but I think they have to make a decision moving forward.
Good run there by Najee Bryant-Lele.
Yeah, Bryant-Lele showing some physical toughness, physicality, showing the ability to spin, to lower his pads, to secure the football when he feels the contact and get positive yardage. You gotta like the fact that Hawaii's still being physical on offense.
2nd down and 3 here for the Bows. It is a give once again up the middle. And that is going to be close to the goal line. Now, what, you're knocking on the door. Dedrick Parson on the carry this time. Well, maybe this at least an encouraging sign. Hawaii, the power game up the middle behind these big fellas up front. The give again to the back. It's Parsons stretching for the goal line. Does he get in? No signal. They're going to call him just short of breaking the plane.
Yeah, I think the mechanics of the official is proper here. They got a good angle. It was the first contact. You're going to see when Dedrick goes down where the ball is right there, and then he stretches over the line, but he's down by contact.
All right, bit of a jumbo package here for Hawaii. With Caleb Phillips, the H-back, Najee Bryant-Lele in the backfield. He gets the rock, puts his helmet down, and charges through, busts across the goal line for a touchdown. Brian Lele having himself a ball game. We do have a penalty flag, however.
Il Manning, 75. You're going to watch on the replay now. Good hard-nosed football. Good running by Lele. And then right here at the very end with the celebration, you see 75 with a two-arm extension. And then the celebration after. That would be the third penalty on 75. And he's a better football player than that.
Yeah, this offensive line.
After the play, a sportsmanlike conduct, Hawaii, number 75. That 15-yard penalty enforced on the kickoff, touchdown, and that's number 75, unfortunate sportsmanlike conduct foul of the game.
So the touchdown stands, obviously, but this offensive line, Rich, really the gel that held this whole thing together through the Todd Graham fiasco into the Timmy Chang hiring. The offensive line unit was the one unit with all of these high-profile players that, under the circumstances, felt like it was better for them to transfer out. This group decided, we're going to stay together. We're going to keep it here. The brotherhood is most real among us.
Yeah, the most cohesive, the most experience. You're right about that offensive line. And it starts with Aliki Tanavasa, the newly named captain, the transfer from Eastern Illinois.
Well, the offensive line with the surge to allow for the touchdown plunge by Najee Bryant Lele. Hawaii trying to hang around. There's a look at the scoring drive for Hawaii. 8 plays, 58 yards, 3:17 off the clock. And it was capped by that Najee Bryant Lele touchdown plunge. He now has 13 rushes for 64 yards and that tug. Dedrick Parson, 13 rushes for 31 yards. And our very high resolution cameras able to actually see the texture of the moon here on this Manoa night.
So beautiful. The sunset was beautiful. But if you're not aware of the brand Western Kentucky football, 597 wins coming into this football game. Just 20 years ago, the anniversary of winning the 1AA National Championship. And they've built them something special in a perennial contender in Conference USA.
Yeah, kind of an anniversary year for both of these programs, right? You had, as you alluded to, the 20 years ago exploits of Western Kentucky as that return gets the Hilltoppers to midfield. Michael Matheson on the return. But you also have the 15-year anniversary of the 2007 undefeated campaign, and obviously going to the BCS Bowl and the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. The 30-year anniversary of that incredible 92 team that went all the way to the Holiday Bowl. They defeated Illinois in that game, and so that'll be a fun debate. I think that team's actually going to be officially and formally honored at the Wyoming game here, because Wyoming was the game in that 92 season where they clinched the then Western Athletic Conference title. As this one is a handoff, which will go for some big yards. It's given to Kai Robichaux. It's kind of serving as the closer, if you will, here for Western Kentucky out of the backfield. But that's a great debate. Maybe that's something we will save for another time. But 92 versus 07, of course, you had a vested interest as a member of the coaching staff in 07. Who you got?
Well, I'm going to go, obviously, with June Jones in 2007, but Bob Wagner, give him credit. John Venneri, that whole Mike Seawalk and Paul Johnson, they did a wonderful job offensively, and they played great defensive special teams. So I'm a big fan of Bob Wagner. He was my defensive back coach, so no disrespect to Bob Wagner and that 92 team, because that was a high for this program, something that we should always remember.
Yeah, that front line on defense, Ma'atano Vasa, Ta'ase Faumui, Junior Tongawai, oh my gosh.
Yeah, you know, that was an impressive run. I happen to be playing in the National Football League, but trust me, when you're in the National Football League and your college team is doing well, I'm wearing my H stuff constantly back in 92.
2nd and 5. How about the humble brag by my man Rich Miano on his birthday?
Now I just got to figure out what team I was playing for.
Well, 11 years in the NFL, man. There is no denying that accomplishment. This is Dawood Davis, able to spin away from the first would-be tackler.
Noah Kamana, 47, with a big tackle, and that's how you tackle. You come to balance, you drop your hips, you keep your eyes up. Watch 47 on this smoke throw out on the perimeter. JoJo Forrest misses the tackle. There's the safety overlapping, and beautiful poetry in motion in terms of tackling, a clinic.
Noah Kamana out of Punahou.
You talk about a circuitous route to get to the University of Hawaii. Small college football player.
Oh, this one right up the gut. This is Robichaux again, and he is starting to drag tacklers with him. It was Hugh Nelson and Kamana going for a ride that time.
And Isaiah Tufunga also on that tackle. But again, Western Kentucky going to continue to pound that rock, work on the running game, work on the physicality. There's nothing more demoralizing to a defense than not being able to stop the run when you know that's what they're doing offensively. You're loading up the box. You're trying to get off blocks. You're trying to come downhill, and they're still picking up positive yardage.
And an interesting adjustment, right? Hawaii started with the 3 down linemen. They were going heavy in the defensive secondary, nickel and dime packages. And so here, as we head down the home stretch of this game, you see Western Kentucky deciding we're just going to keep it on the turf against perhaps a slightly worn down defense for the amount of time that it's been on the field. And so it's kind of interesting, the approach here to trying to close this thing if you're the Hilltoppers.
No question, and that's kind of the brand of football. You have to have that physicality. That offensive line enjoys the run blocking schematics and philosophy. And pass blocking is a different art, and they can pass block as well, but they want to get down and dirty.
1st and 10. They're going to keep it on the ground again. Kai Robichaux breaking tackles left and right, dives forward to the 3, maybe 2-yard line.
Inside zone with a little power action by the guard pulling around. Tell you what, they had a long flight. They came in late. They weren't here all week, and they're still battling.
And we are told they are planning on leaving immediately after the game.
Yeah, that's a commando type of trip. Last week, Vandy comes in on a Monday, stays for like a week, SEC money. These guys came in late. They're leaving after the game this evening.
Well, we had a penalty flag on the field on that play.
Illegal substitution, 12 on the field. Defense, half the distance to the goal, results in a 1st down.
So it's going to be 1st and goal from awfully close here for Western Kentucky. We're being told that tonight was officially a sellout here at Clarence T.C. Ching Athletic
Please set the game
Complex.
clock to 6:51. 6:51.
9,346, the official number. That is the max capacity here at this facility. And look, patience is a virtue, and it appears as though this is a work in progress. In the 1st year of head coach Timmy Chang, Robichaux wrapped up. He'll be denied access, at least initially, on 1st and goal. Nice job stepping up there by Jonah Kahahavai Welch out of Kamehameha Kapalama.
Yeah, and obviously people know 13 starters that would have been potential starting this year are in different programs. You lost 19 players to the transfer portal. There's 53 new players on campus.
You have an NFL team's worth of newcomers to this program.
Yeah, I don't want to sound dramatic, but it's a new play. It's a new director. It's a new star. It's new everything here in Manoa, and it's going to take a while to rebuild this program to the proud history that you talked about.
Reed going to keep it himself, and he bursts through for the touchdown. So Austin Reed with 3 touchdown passes now has a touchdown run, and Western Kentucky adds to the lead. This is a good Western Kentucky team.
There's no question, and very prolific on offense. And then you saw defensively, they get to the football. They understand the importance of stopping the run and really blitzing, dogging. I mean, they're an attacking style of defense, and they'll be competitive in Conference USA like they have been the last 3 years.
The preseason picked 3rd, and this year, interestingly enough, Conference USA eliminating the divisions. So they're going to be like the Mountain West next year, where they eliminate the West and Mountain divisions. They're just going to be one league, and so that promotes the top 2 finishers playing each other in the championship game. So the point after is good. Austin Reed with the perfect read to get into the end zone. few of the games that can be played here, some of the hands-on experiences that are granted and afforded to the fans that come out to these University of Hawaii football games. Spin the wheel, see if you win.
American Savings Bank, shout out to Gabe Lee, Executive Vice President, also on the Board of Regents. A lot of fun pregame.
You know, they have done, under the circumstances,
Yes.
an exceptional job of putting together an atmosphere that is fun, that is interactive, as you see, fan-friendly. They got all kinds of food.
Booths.
I
I mean, better than any stadium when you think about the local food vendors. I mean, if you want to come eat delicious food, come to TC Ching.
Kick fielded by Jalen Purdue, and the ball comes out, and it is picked up by Western Kentucky.
Purdue still down on the ground.
And that was Matthew Flint who scooped up the football. He looks to be out in plenty of time. Take another look here.
Wow.
I mean, you just think about
Turnovers.
the sting of some of these bounces and the freakiness of some of these caroms just going right to the opposing team. We saw it last week, a couple of fumble recoveries just snatched out of the air, returned for touchdowns. I mean, we have seen some crazy interceptions here in this game, as far as what you would have to say are just oddities of ricochets. This is number 2, Davion Irvin Poindexter on the carry.
Didn't think they won the special teams last week, the field position, all those other things. This week they get the muffed punt, turn it into 3 points, should have been 7. But that right there, you know, again, special teams has to be special. You have to win hidden yardage. You have to possess the football. You have to take it away. And now the special teams is contributing to this loss. Thomas Sheffield, the special teams coordinator, associate head coach,
Hawaii.
can't be real happy with the return
After
game.
To the goal. Automatic first down. That's number 47. First on sports play conduct foul of the game.
Well, frustration starting to maybe bubble over a little bit here. I mean, this is tough. This is a tough experience for a team. It's a tough experience, particularly for a young team, and we can talk about some of the inexperience there. Even their veteran players aren't necessarily guys who have a ton of starts under their belts. And so this is asking a lot of these guys to hang in there. They have definitely maintained a unified front to this point, as this is given to Irvin Poindexter right up the gut, and he is uncontested into pay dirt.
And I think they travel close to 6,000 miles to the Big House next week against a team, Michigan, that is loaded with athletes and off to a great start.
And there is the kiss to the crowd. Perhaps more of a kiss goodbye from Davion Irvin Poindexter. Talk about that as that PAT goes through that trip to Ann Arbor next week. 8,920 mile trek to play at Michigan. The 6 trips on the road this year total 37,080 air miles. Talking about going back and forth.
Trip. Yeah, and you know, obviously Hawaii has set the all-time record of 47,000 miles traveled the
That
year
was in
they went to
2016,
Australia.
yeah.
Then they went to Michigan.
Rolo's first year, yeah.
Yes, but they'll travel 35 to 40,000 miles every year, and that is a huge disadvantage, but one you can't complain about. You just got to buckle it up and come to play. In next week's game, that's going to be just overwhelming in terms of athletic disparity.
49-17 now the score. Jalen Purdue right back out there after the fumble on that last kickoff.
Now we asked about Western Kentucky, the brand, and they were talking about quarterback you. They were talking about the fact that they've been competing for championships, bowl games the last 3 years, successful in the transfer portal.
Yeah, I mean, Tyson Helton wasted no time, right? They won 9 games his first year there, and that was after a season where they had only accumulated 3 victories. So a great turnaround there. And like you mentioned, 3 straight bowl game appearances.
On-campus stadium, very nice workout facility, nutritional centers. I mean, this is a big-time program, and people don't know the name in Hawaii necessarily, but this is a very good football program led by that guy who I think is going to go on to bigger and better things in terms of he's an aspiring head coach of a Power 5 conference type of school.
Here's Shager. He completes it. He's going to go for some decent yardage here, all the way to about the 38-yard line.
Almost a prevent type of defense, 2-man front, dropping 9 guys, letting you catch the ball underneath, and just compressing and constricting on the defensive side of the ball.
That's Jordan Johnson on the catch, 5'10" Frosh from Dallas, Texas. Shager throws over the middle. That's another completion. Johnson again.
Yeah, Johnson's a good running back from Texas, out in that empty formation, coming out of the backfield. Very versatile.
You talk about the positioning for a team or program like Western Kentucky, right? Very much considered still in the mid-major category, group of 5 program, but certainly on the come up. And now maybe more opportunities for programs like that that can compete for conference championships with the recent vote by the College Football Playoff Board to expand the tournament to 12 teams by 2026. They also recommended that the commissioners and management committee actually explore implementing expansion as soon as 2024. So this thing could be expanded in the very near future. You would have basically 6 spots, the top spots for the top 6 ranked conference champions, and then 6 at-large berths to fill out that 12-team format. And you would imagine there would be some room for those mid-major programs to get in there.
You would hope that's the case, and I'm surprised that they didn't go to 8 teams and they went all the way to 12. Pleasantly surprised, and I think college football, the money in television and the excitement of having those teams is going to be a good thing for this game as we move forward.
Great stretch fetch there, James Phillips.
Phillips, nice job, good throw, good touch throw over the linebacker or the flat defender's head, and you're going to see man-to-man coverage, and great throw, good catch. I'm not sure he's
toes out of bounds. And they did in fact decide ultimately that that was an incompletion.
And George Gushman told me also, even if the toe is in and then the heel comes down after, it's still ruled out of bounds. I would have thought that if the toe was in and then the heel comes down, but no, he's out of bounds as long as part of that foot is touching the white.
This one is thrown backwards. Tylen Hines unable to handle it. And so thankfully for Hawaii.
Ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. 3rd down.
It rolled out of bounds. They actually ruled that, as you heard there, an incomplete pass. Looked like maybe he threw it behind the line.
Could have been a lateral, but it's good to see 24, the freshman running back from Texas, because he does have ability. He has vision. He has quickness, and you got to get these young people into the mix because you never know depth, injuries, and this is a long football season.
Yeah, Tylen Hines, he's got some speed. 5'7" freshman. Shager fires over the middle, and it is caught. And that is complete to Dior Scott. And that's going to move the chains. Red zone visit here for Hawaii. So now what they are looking for is just see if they can finish with some momentum, finish with some positivity going into what is going to be a daunting road trip at the Big House next week.
Execution, you know, continued inspiration, enthusiasm, believing in each other, believing in your coaches, believing in the game plan, and just execute. It's all fundamentals from here on out.
Shager rolling, and he's going to run with it. And he's going to get inside the 5. He's going to spin forward, loses the football at the last moment, but he will be ruled down at the 1.
Rolling on the field, the runner was down prior to the fumble. 1st down.
He's getting up, shaking that shoulder, that arm. I think he does go down short of the end zone. Ooh, awfully close.
That was awfully close. This might be a better angle. Does the ball come out before he is down? It looks like that
I think that leg is down.
That right glute got down to the turf before the ball popped out.
Quadricep, glute.
Here is Parson. Oh, he is stuffed immediately. Access denied. Lorenzo Hernandez saying,
When's the last time you saw a DT with number 0?
Yeah, the numbers are a little trippy here with this Western Kentucky squad.
That's an athlete. That's a guy that's saying, I don't care, I'm getting number 0, and nobody else wanting to argue.
Spent 2 years at Monmouth, second team all Big South selection before matriculating to Western Kentucky. Second and goal here. And this is Cameron Cooper again behind center.
This is 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, 2 receivers, 1 back.
This time he gives to Parson, but they were almost engaged in a tug of war for the football there on that occasion. And Parson gets knocked down. That's going to bring up third and goal. But Cameron Cooper, who successfully ran that option play to Parson for a touchdown earlier in the game, back out there here in a red zone situation.
Yeah, and there's some pundits that want to go more to the read option, the RPO, the athletic quarterback, and that's what this young man brings to the table. Former 4-star transfer from Washington State.
6'5" junior, fleet of foot to say the least. Spent 4 years.
Western Kentucky would take the first charge time of the half.
Cooper spent 4 years at
seconds.
Washington State. Played in 4 total games. Sparingly was 15 to 23 for 143 yards.
Time out of the half.
Throws from the southpaw side, so a bit of a different look as well from the quarterback position.
Yeah, and the spin of the ball for the receivers in terms of hand placement and all those other things, it is different. The only quarterback that's a southpaw in the National Football League out of 32 teams, Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, you know what? Another southpaw balled out today. Another southpaw from the islands, Dylan Gabriel for Oklahoma. Did you see that?
Not only did I see that, but Jaden Delore from Arizona.
Chevin Cordero getting a win the other night for San Jose State.
I don't care what anybody says. Per capita, Hawaii probably leads the nation in terms of D1 quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's amazing. The evolution of that position over the years. It is unbelievable.
Give Marcus Mariota credit for that. Give Vince Passes. Give Joe Lane, all the great quarterback gurus. We even have one in our pregame and our halftime and our postgame show, Jordan Hele from the island of Maui, former quarterback. They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. We're surrounded. Third and goal here. Cooper remains the quarterback. And he's going to run it. And he's going to stumble. Looked like the turf monster may have been the one credited with that one. Cooper had a lane, it appeared, but couldn't quite keep his feet under him. Had Jordan Johnson running with him to that side.
As soon as we talk about his athleticism, he finds the turf monster.
Well, with under a minute ticking down here in this game, Cameron Cooper and the Bows going for it on 4th and goal. They're going to run the option again. He's going to keep it again. Does he get across the plane?
Rolling on the field, the runner was tackled short of the end zone. Ball go over downs. First down.
Denied, just short, according to the officials.
Same play as the play they scored earlier in the game. Unbalanced line, guard and tackle. Option in the end man on the line of scrimmage. Well defended by Western Kentucky.
Looks like the correct call, at least from the first couple of angles we've seen. And so Western Kentucky will take over on downs. They're backed up, so they're going to have to get some positive yardage to be able to get into victory formation. But Western Kentucky will improve to 2-0 on this young season. Hawaii will fall to 0-2. Of course, Hawaii has that trip to Michigan next week. Hilltoppers are at Indiana 2 weeks from now. So the work continues here for Timmy Chang and this coaching staff. Another lopsided defeat, but another game that was filled with peculiar twists and turns that will have have you scratching your head. See the two coaches embracing. They have a history together at this university.
And similar in age, even though Tyson's been coaching a lot longer, been a head coach. Remember, he was a 22-year-old
Ball game.
graduate assistant when Timmy Chang was playing football here.
Yeah. Well, that Helton family, right? You got Dad, who has
Kim.
coached forever, Kim, and then you also have Clay Helton, coached at USC for a bunch of years, now at Georgia Southern.
Whose son is one of the quarterbacks on the roster
That's
here.
right,
and the
that's
dad
right.
comes around to practice, and it's a family affair.
49-17.
Chris
is the
Brown,
final
Nate
score.
Lawa, those guys all know Coach Helton.
And so the Hilltoppers get out of here with a victory. Bank of Hawaii presents the players of the game. Let's take a look. For the Toppers, Austin Reed, 22 of 31 for 271 yards, 3 touchdowns. Also had a rushing TD through 1 interception. Pinay Pavihi, 6 tackles, 1 solo tackle. Did get dinged up a couple of times, so keep a close eye on Pinay here this week. But Timmy Chang and the Rainbow Warriors once again walking off of Clarence T.C. Ching Athletic Complex field in defeat. We will see them back here in a couple weeks against Duquesne, still seeking that first win depending on what happens at Michigan. But the work will, as mentioned, continue here for this team. Rich, how do they go about trying to once again build this thing up after a loss like this for the second consecutive week?
Well, obviously, they're going to evaluate this film. It was, to me, more on the offense. But this is a team loss. As Timmy Chang and that staff talked about after last week's loss, they all took responsibility for it. Jacob Euro took responsibility. Timmy Chang did. They're in this thing together. And the only way to get out of this is to continue to believe. Continue to work on fundamentals. Decide who the quarterback is. Get him the reps necessary. And hopefully they can get some of these players back that are a little nicked up and banged up.
Well, Michigan took care of business against Colorado State, coached by the guy who Timmy Chang previously worked with, Jay Norvell, when they were at Nevada. They will have their turn, will the Rainbow Warriors, next week in Ann Arbor. That will do it for us. Don't forget about the post-game show, but for now, for Rich Miano and Scott Robbs, I'm Kanoa Leahy. Western Kentucky came into Manoa and did its thing. But Hawaii lives to fight another day. Until next time, everybody, we bid you aloha from Manoa.